Milwaukee Bucks active in the first 24 hours of free agency. It started yesterday. All of these reports, according to ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania. Free agent guard Kevin Porter Jr., 2 years, $11 million, returning to the Milwaukee Bucks. Taurean Prince, 2 years, $7.1 million, returning to the Milwaukee Bucks. Gary Trent Jr. agreeing to a 2-year, $7.5 million deal, returning to the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of players coming back. One that is not, the legend Brook Lopez agreeing to a 2-year, $18 million deal, according to ESPN Shams Charania, with the Los Angeles Clippers, officially breaking up the band from the Bucks' 2021 NBA championship run. Plenty of reactions to NBA free agency and what the Bucks are doing and what it means for Giannis' future, including with ESPN Radio's Evan Cohen, scheduled to appear at 9:30 on Wilde and Tausch, coming up right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com. Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde.
There aren't any Jasons 12 and under. That's a dead name.
Packers Hall of Famer, Mark Tauscher.
How many kids do you hear, hey, Marky? It might be almost to the point of Ruth.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
You love that name so much, you don't even go by it.
On 100.5 ESPN.
If you call me Mark, I'm fine. I like my name. I like my name a lot.
The ESPN Wisconsin app.
Wilde and Tausch.
And ESPN Madison on YouTube.
It's Wilde and Touch, isn't it?
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Tuesday edition. A busy day for the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday, keeping most of the band together, but they'll need a new rim protector edition. The Evan Cohen scheduled to appear edition. The David Bakhtiari with a pretty good zinger about weddings and quarterbacks edition. And tell you what, man, got a lot of my Packers fan buddies, fellow dads of Sydney's teammates of various sports, who are very excited about a potential, in their mind anyway, Packers acquisition edition. I'm not sure I share their optimism. Of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, everything you need on the all-new, all-redesigned, all-free, all-customizable ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can find both in the Android and Apple app stores. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios from his undisclosed location. He is the Packers Hall of Famer. He is Mark Tauscher. Tausch, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great this morning, Jason. So if I'm reading what you were saying, your Packer buddies think TJ Watt's coming to Green Bay. Is that what I'm gleaning from this?
Oh, snap.
Well, it was a tease I was going to pay off later. But, yeah, that's exactly who it is. That's what they're getting their hopes up.
Why?
Why? What?
Why are they getting their hopes up?
He is over 30.
Yeah, I don't know why they would. Because he's.
Have we? So, do they listen to the show?
Have we
Do
learned
these
nothing?
Folks listen to the show.
They do. They do. They
So,
do.
if they listen to the show, which we appreciate, by the way.
Yeah, they
thank you
do very much. Thank you. Yes, we appreciate you.
We have been pretty. The Green Bay Packers have a way of doing business, and I think it works. And I know the naysayers can say, well, I haven't won a championship in 15 years. Yeah, can't argue with you. It's true. But much like the Jalen Ramseys and the Hendricks, all of these other big-name folks, you ain't going to get – if it's just one thing, we can probably do it. If it's two, I don't homer this, but I would put it less than 3% chance. Because I see that the Pittsburgh Steelers made the moves yesterday. They ended up getting rid of Minka Fitzpatrick. They brought in Jalen Ramsey. It feels like they're trying to do an all-in bit, but really kind of, sort of. And T.J. Watt's got 1 year left on his deal.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just trading to get T.J. Watt and you get him for this year, yeah, I could see Goody throwing a third, maybe sprinkling even up to if he wins the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, give him a second. I could see Goody doing that. He ain't giving up a first, but I could see him doing that. But he's not going to pay T.J. Watt $40 million a year, which, by the way, is what he's going to ask for. Myles Garrett got 40-some-odd million. You think T.J. Watt thinks he's less of a player than Myles Garrett? And I think Myles Garrett's about the same age, right? Maybe a little bit younger than TJ, but I don't know. You'd have to fact check me on that. The Green Bay Packers are not going to give up picks and pay $40 million a year over. And I don't want to poo-poo. Listen, I love hypotheticals. That's I love this show for that. You know, we get to if there was any opportunity and gleaning that this could happen, I would love for T.J. Watt to be lining up as a defensive end in this new defense. He'd be fantastic. I think he'd be great. But they're not going to pay him $120 million and give 60 to 80 of it guaranteed. It's just not going to happen. So correct me and put this up on Freezing Cold Takes when T.J. Watt is traded to the Packers over the 4th of July. And Jason has to get out of his big, beautiful pool in his yard to go right about
volleyball court.
Okay. He has to get out of his volleyball court.
You have a volleyball court
this
now?
Ain't happening.
All right, so a couple things, as Tausch requested. Myles Garrett is 29 years old. He will turn 30 on December 29th. So he had his 29 on the 29th golden birthday last year. So he will be 30. T.J. Watt, on the other hand, already is 30. He will turn 31 on October 11th. October 11th. So he'll be 31.
Still shocked that this Morgan Wallen concert, that the Watt boys didn't walk him out. Like, I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, who did it the first night? Because it was Favre on night two.
So I don't know.
I don't believe anybody walked him out on the first night.
That's his
thing,
was right? Like that's his
He was wearing
deal.
a Joe Thomas jersey, though, right? He was wearing a Joe Thomas jersey.
He had a Joe Thomas jersey on in the rain on Sunday night, yes. And it made me wonder. Ron Dane is the greatest Badger of all time. I don't think anybody's going to argue.
Dane. Yep.
Is anybody going to argue me on that? Heisman Trophy winner, Rose Bowl champion, all-time leading rusher. I don't think you can argue with me on that. You can. You're not going to sway me. And ironically, if you ask me who I think the greatest running back is in the history of our program, I'm putting JT 23 right up there because I haven't seen anybody do what he did. JT 23 was just a freak. Ron was just a plow horse. Like, he just worked, and it was hard, but team success matters when it comes to that stuff. But straight talent, Melvin and JT 23. Whoop. Don't you think?
Okay, so wait a minute. I guess I'm confused, and we'll get
Why
back
are you
to
confused?
We'll get back to TJ Watt a little bit later. Another one of the great Badgers of all time, along with his brother JJ. So Ron is the greatest Badger player, but he's not the greatest running back? Or you're doing the talented versus most accomplished? Like
both.
Rodgers versus Brady.
Jason, because talent is great. We all
Talent
love having
outs.
talent.
Then he taught me.
Yeah, right there. Talent outs.
Nice.
Yeah,
I don't
talent
have that
outs,
on mine.
no doubt. And the point on this is all of that is great, but there has to be some benefit to producing and winning. And that's why I get so upset with people when they tell me that Russell Wilson's the greatest quarterback to ever come through Wisconsin. No, he's not. He maybe is the most talented, but no. Like that's just not fair to Brooks, and it's not fair to Darrell Bevel. It's not. There has to be some reward for actually getting things done. Like that is why that's what sports are. Sports are about talent. Sports are about all that, but you got to deliver the goods too. When you deliver the goods, you reap them. To the victor go the spoils. I don't know how many times I've heard that. So
Is that
Ron
what on your-
Dane
is
is
that
the
what on
most
your cube,
accomplished
too?
and the greatest Badger, but I would argue that JT23 was probably a greater running back. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you. It makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I appreciate you explaining it because it does make sense.
Okay.
Melvin Gordon, close?
Yeah, he's right there, man.
See,
you talk about a special player. But JT23, if I'm ranking JT23, I've never seen anyone the load he carried by himself. It just was and when he left, we saw what happened. I mean, he was
End of
explosive
RBU.
beyond belief. Huh?
Wasn't he is he the last great running back? Like this used to be not only offensive line you, but wasn't it running back you? And who followed him that was nearly as productive as him? Like we had that
I know
great.
is he was so special.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can't put anybody else from the post JT23 even in the same two tiers as
Nope,
far as where
you're right.
I can't.
So anyway, Ron Dane, greatest Badger, but Joe Thomas's jersey being worn by Morgan Wallen was where
Joe
were
Thomas is
when
in
we
the
veered off
conversation.
the road.
Joe Thomas is in that conversation. We're not in Mount Rushmore season. Well, actually, it is July.
It is.
It is
yeah,
July.
Sure.
This is like
And I
exactly
hear they're
Mount
making
Rushmore
additions.
season. This is it.
All right,
Might
let's
expand
do
it to
then.
5 presidents, from what I understand.
So who are we doing? Who are going to be our 4? There's a long history.
Hey, seriously, if the current president is contemplating having himself added to the mountain, does that mean when we do Mount Rushmores,
Jason,
do we
get
if
you
a
want to go
fifth?
do no, we're only
It's not
going
a political
Mount
show at all.
Rushmore's-
I'm just asking,
Jason,
if
Jason,
the president could
this is
add
what you
himself.
do.
No one's
Can-
adding
No, Jason, this
anyone
is
to
what
Mount
you do.
Rushmore.
You got 4. I just was out at Mount Rushmore when everything else was closed and South Dakota was wide open and they had record years. South Dakota has 4 presidents on their Mount Rushmore, right? That's what Mount Rushmore
Currently.
is. So until things
Stop
change,
it.
Jason, I'm not going to go down your political road and your political stuff.
He's the man said
I
that he
understand.
wants to be added.
5.
I would like to have a 5th. It would make these exercises a lot better. That's all I'm saying, because I struggle to limit things to 4. That's all I'm asking for. I want a 5th spot. Let's see why this is political at all. Wasn't political at all.
So, anyways, if you're going to do your 4, which is what Mount Rushmore is until Jason and Donald Trump change it, this is where we're at. So, Ron Dane is 100% on it. Joe Thomas is 100% on it. I think that's where you start getting into some arguments about who the other 2 are going to be. I would guess J.J. Watt would be on it for most people. J.J. played how many years at Wisconsin? Was it 2 or 3 that he played meaningful snaps?
Let me get that information for you.
And you have to start looking at offensive line. Who is the great? Like, you got Joe. Is there another
J.J.
O-line?
Watt played only 2 seasons.
Yeah, but his 2 seasons were super impactful. T.J. Watt played 3 seasons, and I don't know if he was more impactful. I think I have 2, and I don't know who else I want to put in. Like, I have to think about the other 2 at a pretty high level to get this down to where I want to be.
Well, the only other Heisman Trophy winner is right.
I mean,
Pat
Barry.
Richter.
I'm only players, because Barry Alvarez obviously would be on there, but I only want to go players today.
Did T.J. Watt only play 2 seasons?
I thought he was there 3 and maybe only played 2.
Yeah, according to College Football Sports Reference, he only played the 15 and 16 seasons. So
you know who really ended up getting the short end of college football? And
Brooks
I think
Bollinger.
I don't know if you. No, Brooks Bollinger got a lot out of college football.
Okay.
Maurice Clarett, I feel, has a really good argument to get some money back from the NCAA because of how that all played out. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how his career arc changed because of what the NCAA and how that played out.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And how it is now? Yep, 100%. Okay, so we're doing. We began.
I got 2. I think we need to take calls and see. And with Evan Cohen coming up, I'm sure he'll have some snarky.
He will.
I don't know what snark he'll put in there.
So we started with T.J. Watt to the Packers. We ended
Jason, he ain't go. Let me ask you this: when your buddies tell you this, do you give them any glimmer of hope, or are you shutting it down pretty quickly?
You got to give them hope. You got to give them hope.
Why?
So you're just lying to your friends.
Why do you lie? Why do you lie?
Come on home, Teach. Come on home. I don't do absolutes. Do I think it's highly, highly, highly unlikely? I do.
I just didn't do
have the
absolutes. I
cap
gave it a
space?
3% and less.
I know you
Are
did.
you going higher than 3%?
Yeah, 3.8. Do they have? Look, here's the question: do they have the cap space to front load a deal and do one of these kind of 2-year deals? You know, have them really just 2 years, and then, you know, he can be unhappy with his existing contract. Yeah. Do I think the Steelers, with what they're doing, are interested in trading him, despite the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade? No, I do not. I think they are authentic when they say they want to sign him and keep him. They are going all in-ish with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
so
they are.
I don't believe that they are going to trade him. That said, the Packers were wrong on him in 2017 when there were some questions about who exactly was making all the decisions from a football perspective.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
And
can we all go back and say that in a lot of cases the fans are wrong?
Sure.
Can we all go back and say the fans were correct in their assessment that T.J. Watt should have been a Packer? Because you stood up on the podium for years and said, let's see, there's 2 players, and we all love Vinny Beagle.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin King, I don't know how many people loved Kevin, but whatever. And anyone that was sitting there saying it was it ended up being a colossal mistake not taking T.J. Watt. That is now written into the books.
And as I have said many times when I would mention our buddy Vince Beagle, the Green Bay Packers scouting department believed that there was very little difference between T.J. Watt and Vince Beagle in terms of how they rated them, and they did not rate T.J. Watt as a first-round pick, and that is a failure of their scouting department.
Yeah,
they missed in their evaluation.
I also believe that there were some within the organization that were very, very concerned about his ability to stay healthy. That was another concern that they had, and I think that was part of the reason they felt okay not bringing him in. And, you know, unfortunately, and the question is, because what year did he get drafted? 18? 17. Right? 17?
Mm-hmm. The year before
Did the
Goody
Packers
took
have
over.
Do the Packers have a World's Championship if T.J. Watt is in green and gold? Definitely would have helped. Definitely would have helped.
Yes,
I don't
and
think
they
we'd
wouldn't
be
have had
having
us-
these conversations about getting home and having an elite pass rusher because T.J. Watt has been an elite pass rusher for a long time.
And they could have reallocated their resources so they wouldn't have had to sign both Za'Darius Smith and
Would
Preston
T.J.
Smith.
Watt at this point in his career say, you know what, Pittsburgh, you owe it to me. Green Bay, you don't. I'd go play on a one-year deal in Green. Because if they could get him to just play for this 1 year and then be a free agent, and they said they won't
For
tag
$40
him.
million?
No. This year under his current contract, whatever it is.
Not a chance.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Because if that is the case, if T.J. Watt says, I love Pewaukee, I love the state of Wisconsin,
Want to finish at
Pittsburgh,
home?
you hadn't done right by me. Green Bay's going to give you a third for me. I ain't ever re-signing with y'all. You guys have lowball. You just haven't taken care of old Tej. I want to go home. I want to play a year. The Packers have assured me they won't franchise me. I'm playing this year out, and then I'm going to go get bonko dollars from somebody in an unrestricted, completely free agent market. Would you, as a Green Bay Packer, give up a third? I'm signing up tomorrow to do it.
Yeah, he wouldn't, but
I
I
agree.
would.
But, hey, you're doing this whole creepy, come home.
That's your move. Don't call it creepy. You're the
when
one
I
who
do-
does that.
When I do it, it
Hey.
ain't creepy. When you do it, it's creepy.
Okay.
If you play, I agree. I don't think T.J. Watt is going to give up $80 to $90 million to do it. I wouldn't if I was him. But if this happens and it
advice.
gets ugly and it gets to be September and there's an impasse, boy, he'd look good in green and gold. He'd look good in green and gold.
What? And
Hey, TJ, come on home. Come on home.
you're such a dink. Tell us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, please.
You almost said something. I didn't hear that N in there.
Oh,
I
it
thought
was
you
in
said
there,
something
bro.
else,
Let's
which-
enunciate that more next time.
Yeah, I was going to say you were very flippant about that, and I am not flippant. When it becomes a new month, I get a little jittery. I'm a little nervous because it's a new read, new month at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And for windows with the strongest resilience, to always talk about athletics and resiliency and how you need it. Well, you need it with your windows too. You need the Pella Experience. The Pella Experience Center lets you see it, lets you feel it. Open and close and compare dozens of windows and door options from 7 different Pella lines, and you just put it there side by side. Vince Beagle, T.J. Watt can do it all right now. Stop by soon, because if you order by July 31st, you can get 0 interest for up to 5 years. Certain restrictions do apply. Visit the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield or schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
So just to be clear, when I do the come on home, creepy. When you don't, when you do it, not creepy. And when you say you can see it, you can feel it, also not creepy?
Correct. That is correct, yes.
More non-creepy Wilde and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
What's in your summer survival kit? Mark Tauscher here, and I'll tell you what should be. A cooler full of drinks, a comfy lawn chair, and for just $12.99, a large Hut Lovers pizza from Pizza Hut. For a limited time, choose from 4 loaded legends: meat lovers, pepperoni lovers, veggie lovers, and the spicy Hawaiian for just $12.99. Hot, melty, and made to crush hunger. A perfect summer go-to order. Order up before it's gone on the Pizza Hut app. And remember, nobody out-pizzas the Hut. Additional charge for extra toppings, pan, stuffed crust, and extra cheese.
The sound of summer is on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
At the track, at the wall, jumped up. Jackson Chario brought it back.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
And watching it sail, it's a grand slam.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by J&K Security Solutions and Revive Restoration.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Need new tires? For a limited time at Zimbrick Honda, you can buy 3 tires and get the 4th for only $1. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Summer is the time for heading out to Elkhart Lake and enjoying the high-class racing at Road America. ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talks with driver Graham Rahal about what he loves about the track and the atmosphere at Road America.
When you come to tracks in the Midwest, like Road America, what is it like for you to race in front of that type of crowd that you probably grew up racing in front of for a majority of your life?
For me, on a personal level, Road America is my favorite. So, really highlights what's great about IndyCar racing, the speed, the braking capability, the cornering, all of those things. And I think it's just a great track to go to each and every year. It's just a track that we absolutely love. I think you've got always that Midwestern sort of love, and feel to it. The fans are extremely nice. They're very passionate. They're excited that we're there. So I feel like Road America is always just a great fit.
Find schedule and ticket info today at roadamerica.com.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
I feel like we were a little all over the mappy there, which I know is not off-brand.
We were, but I think the general thought process is for Packer fans getting excited. I'm not gonna. I don't love urinating in people's Cheerios at 9:27 on a holiday week, but I just want to. And I'm not always right. Am I right a lot? Yeah, but I'm not always right. And I just don't see any path forward here that makes any sense for the parties involved to make this happen. Unless TJ Watt is willing to play out the final year of his deal with his hometown team compared to playing it with the team he's played his whole career with. If that is the case, awesome. But the Green Bay Packers are not going to pay $37 to $42 million a year for a 31-year-old defensive end. That is not, and give up picks. That's just not how they operate. And I know there's a new sheriff in town, and I get all of that, but there's not a new sheriff when it comes to the general manager and the capologist. And it's just not how they do business. And frankly, they do business the right way. You get younger, you get cheaper, you don't pay old players. And you certainly don't pay them big bonko deals when they weren't here and give up compensation to do it. And that's why I just think it's less than 3% that it could happen.
And that has been your Bucks free agency updates before we talk to Evan Cohen. I do want to get back to TJ Watt. I do want to get back to Mount Rushmore. Also, I would like to state for the record, despite Tausch repeatedly saying it, all I was doing was trying to add a fifth spot so I can do Mount Rushmores with more options. There was no political commentary on the program.
They're not Mount Rushmores then. You call them peaks. Like, go look at the Alps and say, let's do the Alps peaks.
There's nobody carved into the Alps. And there's
You don't know that. Have you been up there? Have you been up to the Alps, the peaks of the Alps? There could be statues of people up on the Alps. There could be 32 statues. And that maybe fits your indecisiveness more than a Mount Rushmore.
As the resident juror, I believe we have evidence beyond reasonable doubt there are not statues carved in the Alps to share five significant...
Who has told you that?
Because no one has said otherwise except for you just now.
No, I asked. I didn't say there is. But you certainly can't tell me there isn't.
If I may. Again,
just wait. Is there reasonable doubt that there are things scratched into the Alps mountaintops?
Would you stop? Just stop.
I don't know. Maybe.
First of all, again, my apologies to those that found that to be too political. We do not get political on this program. I like being able to put 5 people. I don't think we should add to the actual Mount Rushmore, but for our purposes, it seemed like an opportunity to get a 5th person on these discussions. Secondly, according to Google's AI, yes, I asked, are there statues in the Alps? The answer is yes. There are statues in the Alps. These range from historical monuments to modern art installations. Additionally, many towns and regions within the Alps have monuments and statues dedicated to historical figures, religious figures, and local landmarks. So, no, there are not large faces of
Nobody said large faces. Nobody said that. Nobody
carved
said that.
into the actual mountains.
I want this juror. He didn't even give me any jurisprudence. I want an apology from juror number whatever. Is that 11. You just blasphemed me, and you were wrong.
You're telling me that you were having this
we don't
conversation
need anything but an apology here.
Mount Rushmore adjacent, and you weren't implying
I didn't say anything about Mount Rushmore adjacent.
Yes, it was. It was entirely
I
the
said
impetus.
statues are... no. I just give... Jesse, sometimes you can just say, you know what, Tausch, I jumped the gun. I was wrong.
I will not apologize for this one. No.
All right, great.
Just for those curious, the TJ Watt discussion is extensive in the YouTube comments, but we need to get to Evan Cohen.
Do the YouTube comments think there's a chance?
I really wanted to recap the Bucks transactions.
Kevin Porter.
So can we do that briefly?
Go for it. Can you not do both? Say yes, Tausch.
No, I was busy looking up the Alps. Who's carved into the Alps?
We can't even figure out.
No, Jesse said nothing happens in the Alps, so he's a juror.
I didn't
He
say
keeps
nothing
telling me he's a
happens in
juror,
the Alps.
and he's listening to. He's reading the evidence. All right,
we'll talk
what
to
are the
Evan
Bucks
Cohen,
transactions,
noted
Jason?
NBA expert, about what the Bucks did. We will go through the Bucks keeps and losses in free agency yesterday. We'll also ask him about TJ Watt. He is going to join us from Unsportsmanlike coming up next. But first, Tausch needs to tell us about American Family Insurance.
American Family Insurance, a proud partner of Wilde and Tausch, and for almost 100 years, they've been committed to making life better with the right home and auto protection. Also, you're free to enjoy your dreams. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com.
Evan Cohen joins us next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
The Milwaukee Brewers, the New York Mets.
Here's Ortiz, launches one out to left. It is deep. Back of the track, gone.
Tonight on 100.5 ESPN.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Ben Brust here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owns. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to celebrate than with Door County Distillery. Hey, it's Alex Stroh. I've been telling you for years how great Door County Distillery is. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. The sun is shining, and so can the Rock Island Rum from Door County Distillery in your summertime cocktail. Otherwise, vodkas, gins, whiskeys, brandies, and more, it's all available from the award-winning Door County Distillery. Find a huge list of unique cocktail recipes and the retailer nearest you, doorcountydistillery.com. That's doorcountydistillery.com.
This fall, there's only one place to be, Camp Randall Stadium. Wisconsin football returns with can't-miss matchups, including Maryland, Iowa, Washington, and more. From the first touchdown to jump around and the celebration of the fifth quarter. Experience the traditions and unforgettable memories that make Wisconsin football so special. Single-game tickets are now on sale. Lock in your spot today by visiting uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS. Wisconsin football game day starts here. We'll see you at Camp Randall.
Join me, Gwen Mahoney, your 2025 Dane County Fairest of the Fair at the Dane County Fair at the Alliant Energy Center, July 17th through the 20th. On Thursday is our Hometown Hero Day. Heroes get in free. At night is the band Ember. Friday has Kids Day activities and salsa dancing at night. The Cars and Cows Showcase hosted by Zimbrick and Cochran & Company presented by Life 102.5 is on Saturday. Entertainment presented by La Movida on Sunday. The Dane County Fair is fun for all ages. I hope to see you there July 17th through the 20th. For more information, visit DaneCountyFair.com.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday as free agency rolls on, I'll tell you the one team who needs to wake up and join the party if they want to be serious title contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Tausch, did they play this one at the big show that Evco missed?
Oh, they played everything, man. My voice has recovered, but they played it all. Everything.
Well, it's time for Mr. Brightside himself. From Unsportsmanlike, it is Evan Cohen on Wilde and Tausch. Evan, good morning. How are you?
What a line. That was good, Jason. Let me tell you. Here's how I am. Do you know what our guy, Old T, Mark Tauscher, did? What a job by him. Friday night, 9:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I, of course, like anybody on a Friday night at 9:50, I'm in bed, lights off on a Friday night. I hear my phone and FaceTime ringing. Like, Tausch FaceTiming me. That's interesting. I roll over. I pick up the FaceTime. I look at it, and I never see Mark Tauscher's face, but I do see Brendan Flowers from the Killers' face as Tausch FaceTimed me from the Killers concert, put me on, let me see some of it, hear some of it, and then hung up before he ever turned the camera around. That was a tremendous job by Tausch on Friday night.
That is friendship right there, people. How close? Since Tausch didn't give us a whole lot of dazzling detail about the concert, much like he just did moments ago.
Did you get
when
where
he
you
said
saw
the
two empty seats that were for Evan and his wife? Did you see the two empty seats?
I did not see that part.
No, we did. Jason, I'm doing that for Jason because he's all. We didn't have two empty seats.
How close were your seats? How good of a view of Brandon Flowers did you have, Evan Cohen?
We had good seats.
I
don't know.
We had good seats. It was like a middle, not up, like middle front area. Like I mean, almost. I'm assuming he was in some sort of suite and private area, but it was excellent. You can see it right there.
With the people. We're, I think, F. Wow. So what is F in the alphabet? That's probably 10, 11 rows? Is that?
6.
Oh. There's the pit, and then you're 6 rows up from that. So
yeah, okay. You weren't the 6th
I
row.
liked it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we were up from the pit. I ain't ever going in the pit. That ain't going to be good for me. That pit's not. I ain't about. Unlike Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey, I ain't about pit life. I'm not.
Oh, good one.
Wow, what a line.
That was a stretch.
Thanks.
Wait. Can I one more question or two about the Killers concert?
Of course.
You get one.
No, you get 2.
Okay. What they open/close with?
Well, they closed with Mr. Brightside, as I think most people would expect. I want to say Human was the opener, but I'm not going to lie to you, I don't recall exactly. Because, again, for me, I knew all their songs, or probably at least 90% of their songs, so I didn't care. It's, when you go to different concerts and there's a stretch. The other question I had is, for the Killers, never once did I even think about sitting down. Not one time. For Morgan Wallen, I sat, I looked old, I felt old, and I didn't care. You can't really sit. When you go to a concert, you can't sit, right? You just can't do it.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen has a bunch of good songs, but for you and I, the Killers are on another level. That's such a good point because you have so many bands that you go to a concert or groups or acts or artists, however you want to, singers, whatever, rappers, where you're like, all right, I hope they play these songs. I hope they don't play those songs. I hope they realize we're here for their greatest hits and not their new stuff. With the Killers, it's almost as if it doesn't matter. You want to play new stuff, I'm in. You want to play old stuff, I'm in. You want to do greatest hits, I'm in. The only thing I'm not 100% in on is that Folklore album they put out a couple of years ago. That wasn't for me. It doesn't mean it was bad. It just wasn't for me. And I think they've only played like one song from that album like ever in a concert. They have so many good
limited.
songs. Like the deep cuts are even songs that there are a couple of songs, Rut and Life to Come, Tyson vs. Douglas, off the Wonderful, Wonderful album that I've never heard them play in person. I love those songs, but they are so damn good.
I agree. 100%. All right. Jason wants to get into Bucks talk.
Dealer's choice, which I tried yesterday, and it didn't work out very well. Or Evan's choice in this instance. Badgers route Mount Rushmore or Bucks free agency re-signings and losses. Which category would you like, sir?
I'll take both. I'm into both topics. Go ahead, whatever you want.
Okay. Well, then first, let's do the Bucks since there's been no.
Hey, Jason, let me run this by Evan.
This is how it went yesterday.
Let me run this by Evan because I
what I
think
deal with.
Jason. No offense to Jason. He had a really hard time understanding this concept, and maybe this is going to come back because I'm just difficult. But I said Ron Dayne is the greatest Badger of all time, but I don't even think he is the greatest running back in our program's history. Does that make any sense to you?
Complete sense, actually. That makes 1,000% sense. It's funny you bring that up. Dwayne Wade said something the other day, and I think this is kind of what you're getting at a little bit. Dwayne Wade said, and I'm paraphrasing, LeBron James is the greatest player to ever play for the Heat, but I'm the greatest Heat player.
Yeah,
Meaning,
very similar.
Yes, right? So the Badger program was put on the map in a way that no one outside of Barry Alvarez could take credit for besides Ron Dayne. But if you look at, I don't know who you say is the best running back, from Melvin Gordon to anybody else you want to throw out there, right?
JT
like, there were running backs that were, Jonathan Taylor, like, he's probably better at running the football than Ron Dayne, but the greatest Badger of all time, the one who helped birth the program, is Ron Dayne. If Ron Dayne doesn't exist with Barry Alvarez, Jonathan Taylor is never attracted to Wisconsin the way he was. Melvin Gordon, James White, any of the guys we're talking about that came after, obviously, it's not even a debate. I think what you said makes a ton of sense and is actually 1,000% correct.
There you go, Jason.
Yeah, I if I recall, I don't want to rewind to previously in the show, but once you further explained it, I agreed with you, just for the record.
Oh, okay.
And Pat Richter deserves at least to be discussed in that group, considering that back in 1961 he took his team to the Rose Bowl as well. But yes, he is the GOAT. Now, we were trying to figure out who else belongs on the Mount Rushmore of Badger football. Barry Alvarez is not
players
eligible.
Only.
Players only.
Just wait. Yep. Players only. Yep.
Would you like to just run this?
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question, though?
Just don't be so sensitive, Jason. Yes, go ahead, Evan.
So, is it in the Ron Dayne realm of what they did for the program while at the program? Or, like, Russ wouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore, but Russ is the greatest quarterback to ever play for Wisconsin. But not the greatest quarterback at Wisconsin. Does that make sense?
He's the most talented quarterback. He's not the greatest. No.
No.
So you got to combine it. It's got to be. It has to be a combination.
For me,
go ahead.
Here's what I would say. I would say, for me, I start with two right off the top of my head, and I say Ron Dayne and Brooks Bollinger. Who you have not connected, by the way, he and I on text yet, Tausch. I'd like to be connected with Brooks.
I'll make sure to do that. Yep. Okay.
And then other people that are running through my mind as we are discussing this would include, but not limited to, Pat Richter, obviously, you mentioned. Would include J.J. Watt. Would include Joe Thomas. I thought Lee Evans was phenomenal with the Badgers.
He was.
People probably wouldn't do that, but God, this is hard.
We need to at least put Alan Amici in the conversation. By the way,
he's not going to make it. Amici's not going to make it. I hate to tell, and this is going to be crazy. I would argue if you wanted to do, and I know the Mount Rushmore thing people laugh at and scoff at it, and I get it, but Wisconsin might be the only program in college football that would not put a quarterback on their Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, but we'd be wrong. Brooks Bollinger is vital to this. Brooks Bollinger's
not making the Mount Rushmore. He's not making it.
How can you say that?
I'm just telling you he's not.
Who is that? Who is?
Ron Dayne and Joe Thomas are lock stock. I think Jonathan Taylor is a lock stocker, and then I think it comes down to J.J., Melvin Gordon. I think that's where this thing goes. That's where I think we're at. And then Pat Richter's in there, too. Brooks Bollinger is not making it. He's not going to. And I love Brooks, but he's not making it.
But, Tausch, a program, Mount Rushmore, that wouldn't have a quarterback, how about Penn State? I know Kerry Collins is great, but Kajana Carter, right? They put Courtney Brown, LeVar Arrington. There's probably a million others I'm missing here, right? Kyle Brady was great. For
Micah Parsons probably would be on there.
Micah Parsons.
A tight end. Their tight end might make it. No, the guy that's just got drafted.
Oh, yeah, 44. Oh, my God, I forgot his name off the top of my head. The guy's on the Colts. Oh, my God, I just forgot his name. But whatever.
Warren.
Yeah.
I think it's Warren.
Yeah. So I think there are other programs that would not have quarterbacks. I am very, obviously, as you know, Jason and Mark, I'm very, very biased in favor of Bollinger. I think what he was able to do in Wisconsin was so significant. And I understand Mike Samuel did it before him. I understand that, obviously, Sorgi was pretty good and played in the NFL for a long time. And then Russ, I get it. But Bollinger, to me, is a vital piece of that puzzle.
Okay.
What about you?
You're probably going to – I don't even think – but, by the way, Brooks is not going to put himself on it.
That's because he's a humble leader.
You, Tausch, but Tausch, I know you texted me separately saying I should mention you. I didn't. But do you think you should be on it?
You should have. No, I don't think I should be on it. No, I'm not even in the conversation. Okay. But there
neither do I.
I think you're going to have two running backs at a minimum, and then I think J.J. Watt is going to be your fourth, and then along with Joe. I think those are your four.
You know what's crazy about how many great running backs we have? Like, for people who don't know, there was a guy named Anthony Davis, not of the Mats, who was unbelievable. Michael Bennett, unbelievable. Eddie Faulkner, who's now a coach, awesome. Right? Clay. I mean, we had so many running backs that were so good.
Brian Calhoun.
Remarkable. Brian Calhoun, yes.
Yeah.
If I may, especially since this era is most likely coming to an end, if we made a smaller Mount Rushmore of the greatest walk-ons in Badger football history, I think old boy's got a shot here, doesn't he?
I would take Bob Adimoff over him. I would take
Joe Panos was a walk-on, wasn't he?
Joe.
Yep.
Jim Leonard.
I'd have a shot.
Jim Leonard was a walk-on.
Jim Leonard's for sure on it.
Yeah. Chad Cascadden, Chris Maragos, a few others spring to mind. All right, Evan.
I don't even know if Tausch is a top 10 based on this list.
Yes, I think he's based on the Bleacher Report list that they assembled once upon a time. He was third, so that puts him squarely on the Mount Rushmore. Evan, I know Tausch fancies himself a big picture NBA analyst. You were doing the NBA free agency show on Sunday. The Bucks have made a variety of re-signings and one that they didn't over the last 24 hours. Where do you view the Bucks with bringing back Gary Trent, bringing back Bobby
Gary
Portis?
Trent Jr. contract? Evan, can you explain that to us? 2 years, Jason, I think it's 2 years, $7 million bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, is he paying the Bucks to play for them? That is unbelievable.
It's an odd deal because I think Wendy and all the crew had him going for like 12 to 15 a year, and he ends up 2 years, 7.5.
I couldn't believe it. I seriously could not believe this. I have to read that multiple times. Like 7.5 a year or 7.5 all. Now it's a player option for the second year, so that's like hey, I'll have another big year potentially, and then get more money when there's more money in the market to be had. But still, it doesn't matter. So if you just look at it, let's go in steps on this, Jason. So what have the Bucks done? I believe the Bobby Portis contract is a really team-friendly contract. My co-host on Sunday Night, Tim Bontemps, disagreed with me. Okay, fine. I think Bobby Portis is worth more on the open market than the Bucks are paying him. So
what did Bontemps say? What did Timmy say?
He thought he was. Yeah, thought he was worth a little bit less than that, and maybe that around the 12 range instead of the 14 or 15. Okay, no big deal, right? We can split hairs on that. All right. Gary Trent, I believe that's a good deal, a really good deal. Kevin Porter Jr. if I watched the basketball player and didn't know the history, I would think that's a great deal. But obviously, there's some off-the-court stuff that makes me a little queasy. But from a basketball perspective, that's a great deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
Brook Lopez, obviously, you'd want him back. I was told by multiple people he's going to the Lakers, and then all of a sudden he signed with the Clippers. So I was a little confused, and I want to know what happens with that. So I think if you look at what they've done so far, I think you got to be thrilled if you're a Bucks fan at the prices they're paying on the people on the players they're paying the prices to. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part, and we'll get to the honest part, obviously, is what do they do now relative to improvement so Giannis will be satisfied? So Brook goes out the door. The assumption is that maybe they're in the mix for a center. That center that we've heard is DeAndre Ayton, former number 1 overall.
No, I don't want him. I don't want him.
Okay, yeah, but a lot of people feel that way. I also don't think they need a center the way that everyone else does, because I don't know why Bobby can't just start at center with Giannis, considering how physical those two guys could be. And then there's all the conversation about, well, Connaughton's at $9 million. Pat Connaughton's at $9 million. Kyle Kuzma, who obviously wasn't great for them, is at $22 million. And Dame is in the 50s if they bring him back, potentially. I have pitched the idea, and I hate doing this to Dame because he's wonderful, but of trading Dame for contracts that maybe teams don't want, and that maybe you pay teams off to take Dame off your hands because he's an injured player. I have brought up the idea of Utah previously. That's not going to happen now because of moves they've made. I brought up Washington with guys like Marcus Smart and believe it or not, Chris Middleton. And I have brought up Portland for him to go back there. But I have a new idea. Would you like to hear my new ideas?
I love new ideas. I love it.
Just real quick, if you send them back to Portland, do you get Drew Holiday back in that deal?
Stop, Jason. Jason.
Come on, Jason.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's a big step over.
Sorry. I'll be quiet.
You're like Allen Iverson versus Tyronn Lue. You'll like this. You'll like this one.
AI.
Exactly. He AI Ty Lue. Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yep.
But here's my new idea. What if I told you?
Gee, I wonder.
If you're the Bucks, would you call the Portland Trailblazers? And would you say, we'd like Drew Holiday, who clearly is not going to be thrilled to be there, who's on a bad contract right now, and we're willing to give you Pat Connaughton, and we're willing to give you Kyle Kuzma. And then the Blazers say, absolutely not. We want Drew Holiday on our team to influence young players. We think he can still play, and he sets the tone defensively, even if he doesn't want to be here. Okay, we understand. What if we offered you our first-round pick in 2031, but we put protections on it? Okay, well, now they have to start listening. What if I told you there was a way to get Drew Holiday back by offering Connaughton, Kuzma, and a pick? You get Drew Holiday back. He's your point guard in the meantime. And then, if you get Dame back, he's actually the perfect person to play next to Dame because he's defense first. And now, all of a sudden, Dame is not rushing the rehab, but Dame sure as hell has a goal here. And you have Dame, you have Holiday, you have Giannis, and you have Portis. Is that going to get you to the finals? Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No.
It's Tausch. Okay.
It's not.
Let me do it this way. Hold on. If it doesn't get you to the finals, is it going to get Giannis excited to get any thought of leaving off the table?
I haven't heard any thought that he is leaving off on the table.
Well, I agree with you, and I think we could. It would not surprise me if there was some comments
Hey, Evan,
made over
Drew
there.
Holiday's contract is bad. Hey, Drew Holiday's contract is bad.
It is, Tausch.
That's a
I
bad
understand that. Now, Tausch,
Okay.
you walk me through what the improvement could be externally with the pieces that they have available to them. What would you like to see? You don't even have to give me a specific player. But just give me the right. Well, give me a. Hey, I want Kuzma and Connaughton and a first for something. I want Dame and something. What would you like to see them acquire here?
this is going to sound crazy, but I want to look, and I'm not going to get into the minutia of this. What I want is them to take the Green Bay Packer approach, which is younger and athletic length. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
We got to get younger and more athletic. And I don't care who those guys are. They know a lot more about it. It seems, and tell me if I'm wrong, it seems as if the star guys, Shea and all these guys, they're making, I just saw SGA signed $71.5 million a year. The big boys are still getting the big bread. But the idea of the middle-class bread is getting to be less bread. There's not as much bread. So we should be able to stock our pantry with some pretty doggone good bread, some sourdough, maybe a little pumpernickel. You can get all that, and you're not having to pay big boy prices because the market seems to have, it's really ballooning up at the top, and at middle is very gettable. Am I wrong?
Right. So you're right, but you're inadvertently and somewhat understandably contradicting yourself in this regard. You want young, athletic, affordable, big people. And
wings.
yet we started this conversation by you saying, I do not want DeAndre Ayton on the team.
Correct.
He is a young, affordable, big person.
Stonehands.
Tausch. Beggars can't be
He's got
choosers.
stone hands.
The Bucks don't have.
No, he's got stone hands.
But Tausch, they don't have this empty roster to do whatever they want. You see, if I'm them, I have to trust if Giannis is there, which I think he will be, and with Doc as the head coach, a reclamation project that was once the number 1 overall pick in the draft that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, has had 7 straight years of averaging 10-plus points and 10-plus rebounds would be somewhat of interest if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks. There is one one counter, though. Hold on. There's one major counter.
Yeah.
The major counter to everything I just said is it snows in Wisconsin. Now, why do I bring that up?
So what?
This is not a joke. DeAndre Ayton missed a game last year because he couldn't get out of his driveway because of the snow. I'm not actually kidding on this.
Jason, call Dan Aarons. Let's go. What are we doing? The snow thrower.
Yeah.
You don't use yours. Jason Wilde, can I say this?
Jason's
Are you
got
willing
one.
to donate your snowblower you refuse to use ever to DeAndre Ayton if he comes to the Bucks? Are you willing to do that for the squad? You never use it. It's still in the box.
I haven't used it yet. It is not in the box. It is
3 years
gassed
old.
up and ready to go
got it a
for that
while
next
ago.
snowstorm.
It's 3 years old.
It's first of all 2
I
winters.
do like this house.
It will be going
Tausch,
into
we're
its
onto
third
something.
winter.
It's well
It's
under
going
the
into
age
its
of
third
30.
winter, and it wants to eat. It's time. You let it develop in the garage. It's time to play. The snowblower needs minutes.
If I may ask our 2 esteemed NBA expert panelists.
So I take that as a no. You're not going to
No, I'm
donate your
keeping it,
snowblower.
and my new lawnmower too.
Tausch. I just got Wimbledon tickets for this weekend. Nice.
Oh, really?
Going to Wimbledon. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Are you taking Tausch?
I would have won if he invited me.
I'm going to FaceTime him.
There you go.
There you go.
Put my face on there.
Heard that coming.
Well,
Why
Pagula got a lot of upsets already. Pagula's out.
I know.
Medvedev is
they
out.
got in my ear. Wait, this morning they got in my ear. They're like, hey, you got to mention the Pagula upset. I said, all right, no problem. And then I was like, oh, no. And I saw the woman she was playing, and I'm like, I don't know how to actually say her name. And the way I said her name was a total and utter disaster. So, anyway.
I hope Fritzy can overcome. I know he's in a 5th set. They kind of robbed him yesterday. He's playing Jason. He breaks this guy, the hardest server in tennis. He breaks him in the 4th. The kid is rattled beyond belief. They got 48 minutes to curfew, and they leave it up, and the guy's like, I don't want to play anymore. I'm coming back tomorrow. So now he's going to be fresh. Fritzy's down 5-1 in a tie break. He ends up coming back, gets it to a 5th, and would have steamrolled him. But they said, no, curfew time, can't do it. Now Fritzy, American, top like American 11, in the draw, o'clock. Might not make it.
Yeah, not fair.
11
Wrong.
o'clock. So, what do I? By the way, do I have to wear all white? You think? I mean, I know
yeah,
I'm not
you should.
playing, but
yeah, but you should wear all white.
And a McEnroe headband.
I show up with a headband, and I show up with a headband and a wooden racket, and just start screaming at the chair umpire.
You cannot be serious.
Can you imagine that? Oh my God.
Could you just educate me? Why are he just called them stone hands? Why is everyone so down on DeAndre Ayton exactly? He's averaged 16 and 10 his entire career.
If you're going to play with Giannis, you better be able to stretch the court. Can he stretch the court? Because I don't think he can.
A little bit.
You think he can?
Stretch a little bit. I mean,
all right.
Not to the way Brook can, but Brook made himself into that.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, what you're thinking is the right way of thinking relative to not watching 82 NBA games, non-Bucks a year. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that a former number 1 overall pick is sitting there at that height, at that price, and with Giannis possibly next to him to influence him positively, and we're not jumping on it? I think your thought process is correct for sure right now. I don't think there's any question about that.
I can't think of...
It doesn't mean it's going to work out, but it just means that's the kind of risk you should take when you don't have the resources to take risks.
Great point.
What a great place to end it. Evan, we appreciate you. Thanks.
Wait, can I just say one other thing?
Of course you may.
God,
yes, you and Tauscher, man. Yeah. Jeez.
Well, we stumbled on something. If DeAndre Ayton signs with the Bucks, I do think ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, ESPN Beaver Dam, we should all do some sort of like big event where people do donate old snow blowers and shovels to DeAndre Ayton to make sure he can get out of his driveway.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Also, there's a story. Look it up. This is Jason. These are the reasons why people are like, "What's up with this guy?" There's a story. I think he also may have gotten hurt because he never ordered a bed, and he was sleeping on an air mattress, and he's 7'1". This is not a joke.
That'd be uncomfortable.
Look that up.
Okay, I will get on that. Tausch just did pass along the DeAndre Ayton out tonight due to icy roads in his neighborhood story.
I told you. And
Huh?
look at
Evco before
my kind of player.
So Evan, before you go, there's going to be a debate whether
Jesse's going to get his jersey. Jesse's going to get a DeAndre Ayton jersey because he finds ways of just taking days off. This guy.
Yes, he does. Brook Lopez. Would you rather have a statue out in front of Fiserv?
Yes, we.
I just would you rather have a statue
story
outside of Fiserv or your numbers retired in the rafters? What would you rather pick?
For Brook Lopez?
Yep.
I think the number in the rafters, because number in the rafters is like.
I think that seems strong for him. I don't think he's a rafter guy.
But you're going to give him a statue?
You think a statue?
I think he's a statue guy, yeah.
Well, then what are you going to give Giannis? You give Giannis the entire arena.
Giannis gets everything. Giannis should
get Lambo, too, at that point. You can't give Brook Lopez a statue. That's a little much.
There's an iconic photo where Giannis is on the ground being picked up by, I think it's Drew and Lopez, and then Middleton's behind them. That should be a statue out front of Fiserv.
You guys understand, statues are, you can do like a walking park. Like it's more, you can have more. Rafters and numbers need to be really selective. That's how I look at it.
Jason, did you find the air mattress story?
I did, but we should probably.
What does it say?
He says his early struggles with the Trailblazers after joining them was because he was sleeping on an air mattress. Now, in fairness, he went from the Suns to the Trailblazers. He didn't buy a bed immediately or did not get a bed immediately upon arrival in Portland.
Oh, my God. The Milwaukee Bucks have signed Myles Turner. 4 years, $107 million deal. That is an unbelievable deal for the Bucks. per Shamsharania. Wow. That is a shooter.
Wow. 4 years, 107. Stretch 5. Let's go. Let's
go. That is a phenomenal deal. Oh, my God.
Hey, Indiana. Indiana, eat this. Huh? Eat this.
Wow. Now, hold on a second. Let's figure this out. The Bucks, this may have to be a sign and trade. I don't know how low they could start the first year base compensation because the Bucks would have available to them 14.2, I want to say. I wonder if this has to be some sort of signage. How can you do it 4 years, 100? What's the math on that? 21 million? 26 million?
You tell us.
25 million?
Wow.
Yeah,
This
20,
is an
20,
I don't even know
26 million.
Okay, so let's think here. 26 million would mean I don't think they have a trade exemption. I think that would have. Wait a minute. They may rule Dame out for the year because if Dame is ruled out for the year, his disabled player exemption, I believe, is 26 million. I wonder if somehow. So that means he's not allowed to play, and that you get half of a player's salary if you rule them out for the year for a disabled player exemption, and you get half of the salary.
Are they eligible for playoff return in that case?
No.
Okay.
But I don't know how this
Evan,
works.
Evan, before you go, can you tell our fans why this is so big for the
Myles
Bucks?
Turner.
Why he's such a good fit?
Yes, great question, Tausch. Sorry. So Myles Turner, basically think about him as a younger version of Brook Lopez, and Myles Turner can stretch, hit threes, defend the rim, is athletic, can be a lob threat, a little bit less than maybe you're thinking of relative to like some of those Mavs guys that play with Luka, but he is a great three-point shooter. He's also a complete class act, just like Lopez. In his off time, this is a guy that loves building Legos. He's like an all-time Lego guy. Seriously, he builds these insane things with Legos. He's been a part of the Pacers for the past decade. He is a great defensive player. He could play with another big. Remember, he played with Sabonis before they got Siakam, and he has the ability to stretch the floor the way that Lopez does. The big rotation of Bobby Portis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and obviously Myles Turner is as strong of a big rotation as you're going to have in the Eastern Conference.
Does this make the Bucks the favorite in the East?
I need to understand how they got him under.
No.
The
He's
numbers
signed.
They got him under.
No.
He's agreed.
No, Tausch, it does not work that way. You cannot do it that way. I do not believe this is going to be a straight free agent signing because the way in which I don't think you can sign him just to 14 or 15 right off the bat and incrementally increase it because I don't think the percentages work. So I need to understand how they got this done. Is Kyle Kuzma still on the team, right? And I'm not saying Bucks fans want him on the team. Does Dame Lillard have to go somewhere else as a result of this? Probably not. Do they use the disabled player exemption, and then that rules Dame Lillard out for the entire season? So I cannot answer that responsibly without knowing the way in which, the mechanism in which they are acquiring Myles Turner.
Well, look at you, Mr. Wimbledon and Mr. Blanken responsibility. Go look at Evan Cohen. Wow.
So
I'll tell you something. You know what? You know who's very impressed with me right now? Jason Wilde, who hates my guts. It's like, wow, that is the right way of answering that question.
By the way, just
Johnny Hedge. Let's make sure we don't get a sound graph. That's what Evan Cohen just did right there.
Oh, I don't care
I'm
about
setting
that.
him up to sound graph us through this thing, and he played it Wilde-esque. He Wilde'd that thing to a T.
I just can't answer that. It's because the math doesn't work. Because here's why. If we knew all along that they had a clear mechanism to sign a player to a 4-year, $100 million deal, we would have all approached this offseason differently.
Correct.
That is Myles. Right. So there has to be something else to this. Right? It cannot just because if we entered this offseason saying, "Oh, is Giannis going to say?" We would have all said, "Well, yeah, of course they can sign a guy for 4 years, $100 million." they could be in the mix for anybody. Well, we're missing one part of this, I promise you.
Does this mean they're not getting DeAndre Ayton?
Jason was actually into the DeAndre Ayton idea just because of the quirkiness of the story.
I guess I could keep my snowblower. Evan, we appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around.
Look up Legos. Legos Myles Turner. You guys
I will look that up. Yes. Thanks for sticking around so long that you were on the air for this breaking news. It was perfect. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Wow. What a turn of events.
That was a lot. There's a lot there.
10:14. Still a little ways to go in the 9 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch, so be sure you stick around.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, old T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, I mean, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Staying tough up front, Melvin Gordon a prime ambassador to defend Wisconsin's RBU legacy. The Badger legend back in Madison for the Vibes Golf Tournament last weekend. Flash with more on why running the rock is a team effort during his appearance on ESPN Madison's Saturday Scramble.
And when people doubt you, that's when people dig in and find that hunger, find that nastiness. We got to get back. I seen a couple old linemen, and I was just like, hey, it starts with you guys. I was only as good as my offensive linemen, only as good as those guys blocking for me up front. You know, as long as I knew I had them, I knew.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
People travel the world to collect Hard Rock shirts, and Hard Rock Casino Rockford is going to give the people what they want. Get in on the action at Hard Rock Casino Rockford, where all new Unity card signups receive an official Hard Rock shirt, plus free play to kickstart a winning streak. Whether you're spinning the slots or playing the tables, you'll be dressed for success. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's Hard Rock. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
The biggest games.
Back-to-back state championships. Still going, lowers his shoulder into the end zone. Touchdown, Wanakee.
The most compelling stories.
Where are you going to be playing basketball next year?
I'm proud and excited to announce that I'll be going to the University of Charleston.
We are now joined by the executive director of the WIAA, Stephanie Hauser.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
He's got a Chevrolet that don't always run, and the radio never turns down. He's got a pedigree that's no good for nothing, no commas in his bank account. But there's a girl at the hole in the wall where he plays. Don't take her eyes off the stage, she loves his southern drawl.
All right. We're way behind, and now we have further breaking news from Shams Charania. First of all, if you were listening to Evan Cohen's appearance, this happened while we were talking to him, that the Bucks were signing Myles Turner, almost called him Myles Garrett, formerly of the Indianapolis Pacers, to a 4-year, $107 million deal. And the question was, how on earth did they pull this off? The other shoe has now dropped per Shams. The Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard.
Wow.
And are stretching his $113 million that he remains owed over the next 5 seasons. And Myles Turner leaves the Pacers to join the Bucks. So we will talk about that coming up next. Looks like our friend David Gruber is going to be watching some different players from his courtside seats at Fiserv Forum. And, of course, David Gruber, Gruberloff says, one call, that's all. The Bucks made a pretty big call today. We'll talk about it more as we kick off the 10 o'clock hour. But remember, if you've been injured in an accident, there's only one call to make. It is to Gruberloff. Says one call, that's all. 414-276-6666. 414-276-6666. The Myles Turner era with Giannis is about to begin. The Damian Lillard era is donezo. That's where we'll begin the 10 o'clock hour. Bring back the gif of Tausch doing Dame time.
It's over.
The clock has struck midnight. We'll talk about it next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on July 1st.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the New York Mets.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in July 1st at 6:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
This is Monte Ball.
Monte steps to the right, dashes, reaches, touchdown.
You listen to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison, and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Breaking news on ESPN Madison, brought to you by the Metro family of auto dealerships. And wow, do we have some breaking Milwaukee Bucks news in the last 30 minutes from ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania. First, reported the Bucks signing free agent center Myles Turner, formerly of the Indiana Pacers, to a 4-year, $107 million deal. How do they have the money to do that? Well, Shams tweeting moments ago, the Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the remaining $113 million on his contract to acquire Myles Turner. Damian Lillard's 2 seasons in Milwaukee come to an end as he works to rehab from that torn Achilles that he suffered at the end of the season. Lots to react to on the Milwaukee Bucks front. NBA free agency in full swing. Wilde and Tausch have it covered coming up next right here on Madison's home of the Bucks. 100.5 ESPN. Stay up to the latest over at ESPNWisconsin.com.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Oh, baby, now this is some breaking news.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch will not include Luke Musgrave checking in at number 20 on the list of most important Packers. Nor will we debate who belongs on the four-person Badger football Mount Rushmore or the odds of TJ Watt being acquired by the Packers. That is because there has been a seismic moment from our guy John Horst, the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks. I think we were his first radio show he ever did. Like, he did the show the day he got hired. We were at the AmFam Championship.
Okay. Text him, see if he's available. Text him, see if he can jump on.
We may have to settle for Justin Garcia today. He's got a few balls he's juggling himself, but not as many as John Horst is. All right, so again, to recap, this is a little bit like the Steelers-Dolphins trade that pieces just kept coming out, but much bigger if you are a Wisconsin sports fan. So it begins with the acquisition in free agency of Myles Turner, Indiana Pacers big man, now agreeing per Shams Charania to a 4-year, $107 million deal with the Bucks. And as Evan Cohen of Unsportsmanlike was on with us and that occurred, he was trying to do, and being very responsible, very Wildian, not conjecturing on if this made the Bucks the favorites in the East and this, that, and the other, because he didn't know how they were paying this, given the limitations of the salary cap and aprons and everything else. Well, that shoe then dropped from Shams shortly thereafter. The Milwaukee Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the remaining $113 million on his contract in order to acquire Myles Turner. They are basically paying that off, at least in terms of the cap, over the next 5 years. And Lillard, who was expected to miss most, if not all, of the 25-26 season after rupturing his Achilles, is no longer a Buck. Tausch, there are two moments in this show more than any other that I remember. Kissin' Cousins, the headline, and then the Packers and Vikings actually did tie. And Dame time. You were way ahead of the curve on the Milwaukee Bucks acquiring Damian Lillard. It's not the only time you've been ahead of the curve. It happens a lot. But wow.
Yeah.
Your reaction to what they have put together with the guys they've kept. We were just talking about how they got Gary Trent Jr. for a song. Now they've subtracted from their biggest rival in the division and in the conference, and they created spending flexibility by moving on from Damian Lillard, who I know you were excited about when they added him. What are your Bucks emotions right now?
Mixed. Very mixed. I think for all of us that watched the hot potato game and this team getting knocked out in the first round, it was 1 or 2 seasons, and now it's 3. You start wondering, all right, how much longer will Giannis continue to have this? Because we all understand this is Giannis's operation, and when he's gone, it's going to be whatever it's going to look like. That is always the top concern. I still believe the Bucks did the right thing in swinging for the fences and bringing Dame in. Sometimes these things just don't work out. Mm-hmm. Would it have worked had Dame stayed healthy? I don't think so. I don't think it would have, because for whatever reason, his first year, he said that he wasn't able to work out and wasn't able to be the player that we needed him to be. He is a closer. We saw it in Portland. He's somebody that likes having the ball in his hands. He makes clutch shots. That's what I felt like the Bucks needed. And when you make the trades, they gave up a lot. It didn't work. And Ron Wolf would always say, it's not bad to, you're going to make bad picks. Just don't let it sit there and fester and make it worse as you keep going. And this is the unfortunate part because Dame Lillard, by all accounts, is a good dude. He's a good teammate. He's obviously one of the top 75 players of all time. That's voted on by whomever did that. But it didn't work in Milwaukee. And once he ruptured his Achilles, sports are hard, man. And it's cold-blooded, and I'm sure it's a gut punch. But at least it's a gut punch that you're getting $113 million for. Dame will see all of that. That's good for him. He will come back, and he'll play for somebody else. The Milwaukee Bucks, instead of stewing and crying and saying, oh, this ain't fair, and they decided to do something big and bold. And it's going to be expensive. And that's what they did. And they're giving themselves a chance to keep Giannis. They're giving themselves a chance in an Eastern Conference where Jason Tatum is out, where Tyrese Halliburton is out. I don't know where this leads them, but when I asked Evan Cohen that question and he wouldn't answer it, it was because I think he tried to figure out, well, how can this work? Who else do they have to give up? Well, they're giving up somebody now that was not going to play for them next season. If at best it would have been April. So I give the Bucks credit. They keep swinging. A lot of times you strike out when you swing. But what I certainly don't want them to do, and I tell this to our kids, don't go down with the bat on your shoulder. At least take a big cut or try to fight stuff off and live for another pitch. Today was battling this off, and you're fighting for another pitch, and it's unfortunate because I do feel bad. I would have loved to have seen a healthy Damian Lillard with this team, but sports have a way of kind of catching up to you, and Father Time is undefeated. The Bucks noticed that, made this move, and now I think the future, even though it's painful for us that like game time, the future is much better today than it was yesterday for this team.
All right, so we've heard back from our Bucks buddy, Justin Garcia. He will join us at 11:15. So we've put up the Buck signal as opposed to the bat signal, and he will join us at 11:15. We want to get your reactions to this.
What do you think?
I think I'm going to give the phone number first. The Carbless Talk and Text line, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. That is the Carbless Talk and Text line. Less is more. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about the end of the Damian Lillard era? How do you feel about the Bucks being aggressive here in a wide-open Eastern Conference because of some major injuries suffered by key players for both the Pacers and the Celtics? And the New York Knicks already haven't gone through the draft, and they still are going through free agency, and they don't have a coach. Here's what I think. I hate what-ifs, but I tend to live in a what-if world when it comes to sports. I always wonder, what if this hadn't happened, or what if this had happened? I would love to have Doc Brown's time machine and drive the DeLorean 2 years back, and I would love to see what healthy Damian Lillard and healthy Giannis Antetokounmpo can do together. We never got to see that, and now it's over. But you're paying him $56 million this year to not play, right? And $57 million next year? I didn't know that. I'm not an NBA guy. This is not my area of expertise. You want to talk about the Packers and the salary cap in the NFL? I have a much better understanding. I'm no Ken Ingalls, but I do understand it. The reality is they were going to be paying him and probably not getting the best of him, whether it's the year he's going to miss or the year after his ruptured Achilles. This strikes me as an incredibly smart, although painful financially, move. You had to pay him this either way if you were keeping him. And no one was taking him off your hands, right? No one was going to acquire him to just carry that contract and then have it expire 2 years from now. So this strikes me as a team that is putting its money where its mouth is when it comes to, we want Giannis to believe that we are busting our tails to be a contender and make him want to stay here. Mm-hmm. This makes me think that John Horst is a pretty smart guy.
There's no gap here. Listen, when you have a star like Giannis and he's aging, you can't just say, let's wait and hope. Hope is not a strategy, and waiting when someone is at the back end, when someone is in the middle of their career, they're not interested in waiting a year. Stars ain't interested in the wait game. They're interested in winning and now, and you figure it out, or we're not going to do it. And I don't know, I'm not saying there's any ultimatums made. I think everybody understands the drive that Giannis has. And I kept thinking when I saw the signings last night, well, is running it back? And I was going to actually bring that up. Run it back. Run what back? Going to run this back? And run it back without Dame? That ain't running it back. That's just sitting in neutral at best. This at least, hey, you're putting the car in gear and you're going. I don't know if you're going to get to your end destination, but I know this. You're at least out of the starting blocks. And then you figure out what else you got. We'll find out how that all plays out. I give a lot of credit because this is, you said it, it's going to be expensive and it's going to be painful, especially if you don't get a championship, but at least you put the car in gear and you're getting off and you're going. And in an Eastern Conference that's going to be half the battle because there are going to be teams, the Celtics, they're in reverse.
Yes.
The Indiana Pacers, they're now in big-time reverse and their tires are blown out. So the New Yorkers, and you got some squads that are going to be going. Orlando, there's teams that are moving.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of them got a stud? One of the all-time great players that's driving their car. I don't think anybody. So we'll see.
So we will see, but as of right now, would you agree that this is a time for you to raise a Coors Light and toast to John Horst for not running it back in neutral?
So the beautiful part, because I was a Dame guy. I think I love the way Dame's wired. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Sometimes Coors Light, you celebrate a lot with Coors Light, and sometimes it's a little conciliatory. That's the beauty of Coors Light. You can have it both because it's got it all. Coors Light is brewed with that 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filter, and it's cold packaged. And it is made to chill, and sometimes you just got to sit back and chill. It's going to be hot out this weekend. 4th of July, lake life, boat life, parade life, baseball life. Conciliatory life. Coors Light. 102 calories, and it is made to chill. Sponsored by Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Those icy blue conciliatory mountains of Coors Light. That's a great word. Can you spell it?
Yes. I can. Can you?
Not without typing it out to make sure that I'm not missing any L's or I's, to be honest. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the phones.
To be honest.
844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. The Milwaukee Bucks are definitely not sitting in neutral. And I don't know how many times in sports, in Wisconsin sports, this kind of stuff happens where you're like pretty much completely blindsided. I think the day that Julius Peppers posted photos of himself inside Lambeau Field, and
that was like a Saturday morning, though.
And
I remember that.
And none of the NFL insiders had any idea that he was signing with the Packers. And by the way, they went to 2 NFC championship games in 3 years that they had him. He turned out to be a really good and largely inexpensive late in his career signing. But now, who saw that coming? I didn't. Charles Woodson got off to a little bit of a rocky start, as you've told us before. Didn't really want to come here. Didn't see Charles Woodson playing for the Packers, especially with Ted Thompson doing the signing. But that happened. I was blindsided by that. This one, in the Bucks realm, this one you're blindsided by a little bit.
This is big. Yeah, and can I explain the stretch provision, as I just got this from the Sports Business Classroom CBA, what this means? Since we didn't really, I don't think, delved into it.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that.
Years left on the contract multiplied by 2 + 1. Contract for Damian Lillard stretched over 5 years at $22,516,000 each year. The maximum amount of salary stretch cannot exceed 15% of the salary cap. Guess what 15% of next year's cap will be? $23,197. So a little less than $1 million more is the maximum you could take against the cap. That's what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing.
844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. That's the Carbless talk and text line. How are you feeling about what the Bucks have done today, July 1st, 2025? We'll get to your calls and texts next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Thief! Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
What's in your summer survival kit? Mark Tauscher here, and I'll tell you what should be. A cooler full of drinks, a comfy lawn chair, and for just $12.99, a large Hut Lovers pizza from Pizza Hut. For a limited time, choose from 4 loaded legends: meat lovers, pepperoni lovers, veggie lovers, and the spicy Hawaiian for just $12.99. Hot, melty, and made to crush hunger. A perfect summer go-to order. Order up before it's gone on the Pizza Hut app. And remember, nobody out-pizzas the Hut. Additional charge for extra toppings, pan, stuffed crust, and extra cheese.
The sound of summer is on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
At the track, at the wall, jumped up. Jackson Chario brought it back.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
And watching it sail, it's a grand slam.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee.
Hey, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network, and I've got a question for you. Is your home ready to shine this season? Whether it's roofing, siding, or windows, Ridgetop Exteriors is the name you can trust. For over 20 years, Ridgetop Exteriors has been Wisconsin's favorite for roofing, and they bring that same expertise to siding and windows. Imagine vibrant, low-maintenance siding and energy-efficient windows that brighten your home while cutting energy costs. Ridgetop Exteriors holds all expert-level installation credentials with the leading manufacturers, including Pella, James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding, and LP Smart Side Engineered Wood Siding. With thousands of 5-star reviews and a commitment to excellence, they're the clear choice for home improvement needs. Plus, consultations and estimates are always free, so there's no reason to wait. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com to schedule your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, putting customers first every time.
Ridgetop Exteriors is the place for you.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
This is our crew.
And he got him looking with a slider. Jacob Mizorowski, his 8th strikeout of this game.
You're listening to Madison's new home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball, 100.5 ESPN.
844-770-3776. Again, if you're just joining us, you haven't been on social media, the Milwaukee Bucks are signing Myles Turner in free agency away from the Indiana Pacers. And to finance that move, they have or intend to waive Damian Lillard after 2 star-crossed seasons in Milwaukee.
I don't know. I mean, what does star-crossed mean? I guess I need an explanation. What does that mean?
Star-crossed is a phrase that it didn't go well. It was jinxed.
I thought it meant something else. Yeah, it didn't go well.
No, I think it's from Shakespeare. I'm not sure about that. Somebody fact check me on that. But anyway, it did not go the way they'd hoped.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, can you bring Taylor Swift instead of Shakespeare? Oh, is that Bill Shakespeare over there? Oh, that's Billy Shakespeare. Thank you.
I just was trying to be accurate. All right. So anyway, the Dame time has struck 12. Is that can I reference Cinderella, or is that too old school, Dallas?
You can do whatever you want. I just want you to be able to explain your work. That's all.
Let's get to a call, and then we'll get to more since we're playing catch up as the clock.
Somebody just texted me Romeo and Juliet. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. They're star-crossed lovers. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Thank you, whoever texted Tausch. Let's go to the phones. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. That is the carbless talk and text line. Lists more. Let's start in Jesse's favorite city, McGuanago, Wisconsin. And speak to Diana. Diana, good morning. Welcome to Wilde and Tausch. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It is kind of a sad situation, the way that, Dame is getting released from the Milwaukee Bucks, but they need to do what they need to do to keep Giannis in Milwaukee.
Amen to that. So your overarching feeling today is what? Sadness or excitement that they're not just running it back in neutral, as Tausch put it?
Kind of both. It's a sad situation, the way they're getting rid of Dame because he's injured. That's a horrible way to kind of go out. But at the same time, at least they're trying to better the team. I'm glad they're keeping Bobby Portis. I'm glad they re-signed him. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they signed KBJ. Is that correct? To a 2-year?
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. So at least we're moving forward and we're not going backward. So I'm happy with that. It's just the way the Dame thing turned out. That's kind of sad.
It is sad. It was not what Tausch was hoping for when he did his infamous GIF. Thanks for the call, Diana. I will say this, in fairness, it sucks to be released this way while you're also rehabbing from a ruptured Achilles that you suffered, a month, 6 weeks ago. But unlike the NFL, he gets every penny of that.
And he can double dip.
Mm-hmm.
Miami Heat will. Here's the deal: Miami Heat will sign him, and he'll be playing for them in April or May. So he'll get this. He gets all this bread. It's Bobby Bonilla Day for everybody that doesn't know. He gets that deferred payment, the $1.2 million for another 10 or 12 years. So I get it. And for Dame, it does suck. There is no doubt. But let's not. I don't think we need to be shedding a ton of tears. This is the business. And their business is a heck of a lot better than the NFL's business.
Yeah.
The NFL's business, they tell you, hey, go rehab somewhere else, kick rocks, you're gone. Dame, they're saying, hey, man, this sucks. Here's $113 million to cry and use those. And money is not the answer to everything. I am not saying that. But in this case, we can feel bad about the opportunity that everybody had that didn't work. But from a financial standpoint, Dollar Dame's got lots of dollars that he's going to be getting, and he's going to be getting more, and he's going to get an opportunity. By the way, he never wanted to play in Milwaukee.
No,
they kind of forced his hand to do it. He wanted to go to Miami. So for all of us that are sitting here and, again, feel your feelings, as my daughter eloquently puts, but I think Dame, when he looks back at this, is going to say, we tried, we swung, now I get to go where I wanted to go. I'm not going to be paying state income tax. I'm going to be doubling up, and I'm going to be getting $113 million from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
Yeah. Not bad at all. I was hoping that we'd have more time for me to make this grand announcement, but instead, I will just say we are really excited to have a new partner on Wilde and Tausch. It is Lakeland Supply. Had some great conversations with their team. We're so excited to have them on board. Core values are an important piece to any successful business, and Lakeland Supply is no different. They've been displaying their core values in their industrial supply space for over 40 years. Integrity, excellence, stewardship, partnership, and faith. Those sound like our core values. They're ISO certified. They're a Future 50 winner. They're top rated in customer satisfaction, and they believe in giving back to our community. Lakeland isn't one of those catalog companies either. They work to be your packaging and supply expert, building plans around what you want. Lakeland Supply is in business to make your business better, so set up a free packaging and supply chain assessment at lakelandsupply.com. Again, that's lakelandsupply.com, and welcome aboard to Lakeland Supply on Wilde and Tausch. We'll get to more of your calls next. Oh, no, now what?
Boy. I'm going to tease this. We just got something from Chris Haynes, and Milwaukee Bucks fans are going to want to hear this as we're working through our feelings this morning. Again, it's a report. I will tell you, or Jason will tell you what that report is about how Giannis is feeling about this move to get rid of Dollar Dame.
Oh, no.
This is just a flurry of feelings this morning, and we're going to feel them, and we're going to feel them with you. What's the number again, J-Dub?
844-770-3776.
That's a tag team tease. Can't we do a TTT?
Do you know the number or not?
TTT?
We were at the doorstep. We had a foot out the door, and I brought it back.
We had a TTT.
I forgot the crock pot.
It's an emotional day for Bucks fans. I had a tag team tease, which we never do. We just did it. We'll hear from you next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
The biggest games.
Back-to-back state championships. Still going, lowers his shoulder into the end zone. Touchdown, Wanakee.
the most compelling stories.
Where are you going to be playing basketball next year?
I'm proud and excited to announce that I'll be going to the University of Charleston.
We are now joined by the Executive Director of the WIAA, Stephanie Hauser.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on July 1st.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the New York Mets.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in July 1st at 6:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
All you have is one chance after an accident, one decision on who to call, one shot to get the help you need. Don't waste it on the one offer you get from your insurance company. Make the one call to Gruber Law Offices. It's the only one you'll need to make. Call us today. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger in Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free Memento birthday mug to fill with free beer, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Looking to join an international quality golf club right here in Madison? Discover TPC Wisconsin, an instant classic in the heart of the Midwest. With a course co-designed by Steve Stricker and PGA Tour Designs, it's the 13th and newest TPC Network golf club in the world. Other high-quality amenities include a short game practice area, athletic performance center, and meeting and dining facilities, plus membership benefits that reach around the globe. Schedule a tour at tpcwisconsin.com and start your journey to a lifetime of priceless golf.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Breaking news. The Bucks are letting go Damian Lillard and signing Myles Turner. React with us right here on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's home of the Milwaukee Bucks. Breaking news on ESPN Madison is brought to you by the Metro family of dealers.
Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted. You were right there all along. You and I start gazing intertwining souls. We were never strangers.
Tausch, the big teaser. I want to get to more calls, but before that, tell us what you saw from Chris Haynes.
Well, Chris Haynes basically said Giannis doesn't like it. Doesn't like the fact that Dame got released. Now,
Right, so
what does that mean? I don't know. But obviously Chris Haynes probably reached out to someone, either Giannis adjacent or Giannis himself. Giannis isn't going to be happy that Dame got released, but Giannis, I would think, he's going to care about what is this going to mean for this team this season with this organization. And Damian Lillard was not going to play this year. The Bucks are spending. I think players, all they want to see is effort and that you're willing to spend. The Bucks have proven that they are definitely willing to do both.
Okay, so I don't know if this is a source off or what this is, and I want to get to more calls. But within Sham's story at ESPN.com, I'm going to read this one sentence to you. Turner and Antetokounmpo both valued the opportunity to partner together on the court during the process, sources told ESPN. Also saying that Giannis was recruiting Turner to come to the Bucks.
Ooh.
But in order for him to come to the Bucks, the only way he could come to the Bucks was if they released Damian Lillard. So I assume
Jason, you can be torn on things, right?
Sure, but you also want to look. Let me just finish briefly. If I'm Giannis, I want people to also know and feel like I'm bummed for my guy that I was excited about partnering with, right? Like it's good teammating to come out there and kind of put that out there, right? So I just want to be careful that now that there's the different things flying around, we don't swallow everything whole and just say, well, all of it's true. Because, I don't know, maybe he's saying that because it sounds good to whoever's telling Chris Haynes that. I don't know. That's not my... I thought Haynes was a Dame guy. Didn't he narrate Behind the Bucks?
I don't care about all that. Yeah, well, you understand where people are coming from with their relationships, but you put that out there. He didn't say Dame feels bad. He said Giannis feels bad.
Indeed.
So, to your point where I was interjecting was he can do both. Like, you are Johnny Nuance. This is an obviously very nuanced situation, and I think Giannis has proven that he cares about his teammates. He appreciates them, and you can do both, but always having what is in your best interest and in your team's best interest at heart, but still be empathetic and have feel those feelings about where you're at with how today is transpiring from a Bucs standpoint.
All right, a lot of moving pieces here. We want to keep getting your reactions. We're going to push trivia back to a little bit later in the show. 844-770-3776. I'm sorry if you have been on hold. We will get to you next, I promise. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Brewers.
Jacob Mizorowski gives shades of Randy Johnson. He has the stuff to challenge Pirates phenom Paul Skeens as the most dominant pitcher in the National League.
Nobody covers the crew like 100.5 ESPN, Madison's home of the Brewers.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, old T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Their Memorial Day sale has been extended. Last chance to save 10% off store-wide and take advantage of Steinhoffels' 18-month 0% financing only at
Melvin
Steinhoffels.
Gordon, a prime ambassador to defend Wisconsin's RBU legacy. The Badger legend back in Madison for the Vibes Golf Tournament last weekend. Flash with more on why running the rock is a team effort during his appearance on ESPN Madison's Saturday Scramble.
And when people doubt you, that's when people dig in and find that hunger and find that nastiness. We got to get back. I seen a couple old linemen, and I was just like, hey, it starts with you guys. I was only as good as my offensive linemen, only as good as those guys blocking for me up front. As long as I knew I had them, I knew.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit MapleHillGolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
If you want a fresh twist on surf and turf,
Look no further than North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Inspired by their time living in the Alaskan Gulf in southern Texas, owners Keith and Aaron brought together unique culinary backgrounds to create a truly authentic American restaurant here in Madison. After expanding to 2 more locations in DeForest and Verona, you can savor smoky, wood-fired barbecue and freshly prepared seafood from around the country. Explore their full menu and dining options at eatnorthandsouth.com. That's eatnorthandsouth.com.
Madison's home of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Lots up top to Giannis. Whoa, what a play!
Wisconsin Badgers volleyball.
Underneath it, bump set, left side, powers it down. What a rally, and Wisconsin comes out on top.
And now, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Fly ball to center. It is way back, and it is gone!
This is Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers. 100.5 ESPN.
ESPN Madison is proud to partner with Mentoring Positives for our 3rd annual ESPN Madison Open. Mentoring Positives is a nonprofit based right here in Madison and is dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. As a trusted presence in the community, Mentoring Positives has been helping young people build confidence, leadership, and purpose for 20 years. They're changing lives right here in our community. Visit mentoringpositives.org to make your impact today. That's mentoringpositives.org.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
The Milwaukee Bucks acquire Myles Turner.
4 years, $107 million deal. That is an unbelievable deal for the Bucks.
React here on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's home of the Bucks.
Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate.
All right, let's get to your phone calls right away. And again, sorry to be juggling everything. We're trying to get to everybody. Also, the Bucks have signed another player.
Slow down a little, guys. Jeez.
Wow. This is just like Packers free agency. Gary Harris. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not familiar with his game.
Michigan State guy.
Okay. Signing a 2-year deal with a player option on the second season.
You guys, you need to get more Michigan State guys on your team.
Oh, that's Tom Izzo.
Tom Izzo weighs in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. There's never been a better reason to go to the phones than that right there. Let's start with Troy in Mount Horeb.
Still a better pirate.
Welcome to Izzo and Tausch. How you doing?
Oh, my God. That was a great Tom Izzo, by the way.
No,
I got
it
right
wasn't.
away.
That babe. Let's go.
You're such a liar, Troy.
Giannis probably feels like your first caller did. Good, bad, kind of in the middle there. But I'm as excited about what happened today so far as I was when they signed Lillard or traded for Lillard. Because, that didn't work out. But, Myles Turner's a lot younger, and Myles Turner wants to come here. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't have signed here. So he's a free agent. So he's not to trade. So he wants to come here, and we're getting him from Indiana, which hurts them and helps us. So this is amazing. This really is. And I don't think anybody knew about you could cut a guy and spread their payment out for 5 years as far as the cap goes either. So, I mean, this is all just great.
I love it. I love the positivity, Troy. Yeah, for sure. It. And I don't love the fact that you told Tausch that his Tom Izzo was so good. But other than that, great call.
I think he was joking.
I know he was.
What?
What makes you think that your great Tom Izzo impression was the subject of a joke?
Because there was genuine laughter, like joyous laughter from him.
Indeed.
And I love bringing people joyous laughter. That's what I enjoy.
Let's get to one more call before we kick off the 11 o'clock hour. Let's see if Chris in Muskego is equally joyous with what has occurred so far this morning with the Milwaukee Bucks. Chris, good morning. I know you're probably calling us right from next to Jesse's statue, since we're giving out statues a lot these days, apparently, in Muskego. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I love the Turner deal. I love the Porter signing. I love them extending the contracts of the younger guys. And unlike Tausch, I never wanted Lillard here to the first place. Too much to give up the future of 5 years of next half a decade with no first-round picks. Not that Horst knows how to draft anybody. But I wish Horst wouldn't have been extended for another couple of years. I think that contract should have played out to see how they do after this year. But everything they've done today in the last couple of days, I really like. I just hope that Horst stops chasing after old guys at the end of their careers that wind up giving up first-round picks and don't making it happen. But I love what was happening today, and go Bucks.
All right. Good call, Chris. Now, Tausch, you were on the front end.
How old is Myles Turner, Jason? How old is Myles?
29. I literally just looked that up, so good job. Yeah, 29.
That's good. So
Same age as Myles Garrett.
While the Dame Lillard trade, I understand. He was 34, 35 when the Bucks went and got him. Guys are playing longer, but sports, the NFL is obviously a lot different than the NBA, but youth and guys in their prime that's still where you want to live. There are outliers like LeBron James, and then there's guys that get old quick. And in Dalla Dame's case, again, I still believe it was the right move. It just didn't work. And that happens. But you took the big swings. Who knows what happens if would it have changed things drastically if Dame wasn't here? We'll never know. Because you did allocate a lot of resources and you have given up a lot. But what I have learned is that this Milwaukee Bucks team, which there's other teams that people and fans get upset with because they don't feel like their ownership groups are spending and doing everything that they can to win. And for as much as I give Jimmy Haslam grief, you could say a lot, this team is not shorting itself anything. They are going for it. And whether or not it's going to work, I don't know, but they're not just letting the car sit there and waiting for great financing on what they're doing. They are spending. And they're worrying about how it's all going to run later. And I think from a fan standpoint, that should make you excited.
It should, and I think that is the overarching feeling. We'll get to some of your text messages on the Carbless Talk and text line, 844-770-3776, when we kick off the 11 o'clock hour, which we will do in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Hi, this is former Badger Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison. Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by the ESPN Wisconsin app. Home to all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows at the touch of a fingertip. Plus, find featured content, enter contests, and more. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. Download the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple and Android app stores today. Breaking news on ESPN Madison, brought to you by the Metro family of auto dealerships. And wow, is there some breaking news in NBA free agency this morning. Free agent center Myles Turner agreeing to a 4-year, $107 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, according to ESPN Shams Charania, to make room. The Bucks waiving Damian Lillard, stretching his $113 million on his contract to acquire Turner. ESPN's Brian Windhorst on the move.
This is mortgaging your mortgage to buy a sports car. They are going to be paying Myles Turner $26 million, and they are going to be paying Dame Lillard $23 million for the foreseeable future. So this is going to basically become a $50 million salary slot so that they can hope that Giannis doesn't demand a trade.
Reactions continue. Wilde and Tausch. Justin Garcia joins in the 11 o'clock hour next.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch on this big Bucks news day. Woo! Again, if you're just tuning in, you've been in a meeting. The Milwaukee Bucks are signing Myles Turner in free agency away from the Indiana Pacers, and they are waiving Damian Lillard on the hook for $113 million. We've been taking your reactions. We'll get to some of your texts. We've got Justin Garcia, our Bucks buddy, to help us understand this coming up in a few minutes. But another guy we have a lot of respect for is Brian Windhorst. And Jesse, if you're listening in Madison, you just heard the Sports Center. That was just an abbreviated portion of what Windy said in reaction to this news. Jesse's got the full clip from our buddy Windy.
I love this quote, man. This is good.
It is
a good quote.
And but it also maybe dampers a little of your enthusiasm when he puts it in the perspective that he does. Here is Brian Windhorst on the Bucks' maneuvers today.
This is mortgaging your mortgage to buy a sports car. I guess if you get the girl, which is Giannis in this case, for the next 5 years, Damian Lillard will appear on the Milwaukee Bucks cap sheet for $23 million, give or take. And I've got executives texting me saying Myles Turner isn't even dramatically better than Brook Lopez. Myles Turner is an excellent center who's a basket defender. He is not an all-star. So they are going to be paying Myles Turner $26 million, and they are going to be paying Dame Lillard $23 million for the foreseeable future. So this is going to basically become a $50 million salary slot so that they can hope that Giannis doesn't demand a trade.
Yeah, all fair. Now, I do want to add this. Myles Turner is 29 years old. Brook Lopez just turned 37. So they may have gotten Brook Lopez 2.0, but he's also, it's a little bit like moving on from Aaron Jones and getting a 3 years younger Josh Jacobs, right? If you want to put it in Packers terms, you bought 3 more years of fresh legs. In this case, considerably more years of fresh legs. Does what Windy said, knowing you and I both have a ton of respect for him, I know you love a good analogy, too, and mortgaging your mortgage to buy a sports car to impress the girl analogy. I want you to rate the analogy and answer if this reduces any of your enthusiasm before we get ready for Justin Garcia.
No, it doesn't reduce my enthusiasm. I appreciate and love the whole. It paints a great picture. It's fun. But you have to. You swung big and things didn't work. You can't just stand pat. Now you could make an argument, and Wendy is saying, "Did you need a sports car? And is that sports car that sexy of a sports car?" And is that sports car that isn't that sexy going to attract the gal, a.k.a. Giannis, that you're hoping to keep? Well, if the other report is correct from Shams, is that Giannis was recruiting him, the answer is yes for this year. But I always get a kick out. This isn't our money. It's the Bucks ownership's money.
It's true.
I'm more worried about the cap space. And by the way,
agreed.
They've leveraged a bunch. What is it called? The lean,
stretch. The stretch. You looked it up.
Yeah, I did. I studied it. So I get all that. I think you also have to look at it. How much better is Giannis going to make Evan Turner?
Myles Turner.
Maybe
he's going to make Evan Turner better too.
How much better is he going to do that? I don't know. My guess is a lot. So if you can get Myles Turner getting into his prime, or he's right there. He's a stretch 5. He's a better, younger Brook Lopez. Even if he's not, he isn't an all-pro. Well, you know what? You know what great players do? They make good players great. And when you're going to pay him, which Wendy so eloquently put, you're not just paying him the 25, you're actually paying him 50. He better be really good and better fit exactly what you're looking for. Because when we were talking with Evan before this news broke, DeAndre Ayton, I don't care what you say, I've watched him play enough. He's got stone hands. And he's not going to be drilling 3 balls and stuff like that. That's just not where we're at. So, here's the deal. He needs to be that guy, and he does need to be an all-star type player and help this team get to the next level, whereas we were not having any of these big opportunities the way it was currently set up with Dame on the roster. So I understand Wendy brings up good points. They're fair. But you're also looking, what were your other options? This was a big swing, and now we'll see if you're going to hit a home run or if it's going to be a strikeout.
All right, we need to talk to our Bucks buddy, Justin Garcia, who is our go-to guy on all matters Bucks. He is scheduled to join us next. Tausch is right, though. This isn't our money. This is the Bucks' money that's being spent. But if it's your money, you want to be smart about it, and the smart thing to do is to become an Associated Bank customer. The best customer service in the industry. They've got the awards to prove it, whether it's early pay, whether it's credit monitoring, whether it's fraud protection, or whether it's Packers, Brewers, or Badgers checking. Associated Bank has it all. So go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. Justin Garcia, our Bucks buddy from the Bucks Radio Network, scheduled to appear next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Meet Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com, because your next Mercedes Sprinter van is waiting for you.
Madison's home of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Lops up top to Giannis. Whoa, what a play!
Wisconsin Badgers volleyball.
Underneath it, bump set, left side, powers it down. What a rally, and Wisconsin comes out on top.
And now, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Fly ball to center. It is way back, and it is gone!
This is Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
Summer is here, and your taste buds deserve the best. Carbless is perfect for the pool, the lake, or hanging out by the fire. Full of flavor with 0 sugars, only 100 calories, and made with premium spirits. Don't just settle for something overly carbonated and those flavorless seltzers. Carbless has full flavor with every sip, not just a hint. So when you're ready to take a drink and ready to chill, Carbless is clean, crisp, and won't leave you feeling bloated. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com.
Are you going to do something today?
Yes, I am.
And what exactly might that be?
My plan is to sit here and enjoy our amazing new patio set from Steinhoffel's.
Steinhoffel's 4th of July sale is going on now. Take 10% off store-wide, plus an extra $100 off every $999 you spend. But don't wait too long because this sale ends soon.
Now, would you be a sweetheart and get me another lemonade? I have to stay hydrated.
Steinhoffel's 4th of July sale, going on now.
The team you'll always remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin.
With a reunion you'll never forget.
And I wanted to shake hands, and they just dabbed me, hit me. And I remember we turned around and I looked one time and I said, game over.
Relive Made and Believe starting July 8th on ESPN Madison on YouTube and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Brought to you by M3 Insurance Company, Potosi Varsity Ale, and Potosi Hard Seltzers. Made and Believe. Available starting July 8th.
ESPN Madison is proud to partner with Mentoring Positives for our 3rd annual ESPN Madison Open. Mentoring Positives is a nonprofit based right here in Madison and is dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. As a trusted presence in the community, Mentoring Positives has been helping young people build confidence, leadership, and purpose for 20 years. They're changing lives right here in our community. Visit mentoringpositives.org to make your impact today. That's mentoringpositives.org.
Greg Scalzo here for Buck and Honeys. Congratulations to the perennial Best of Madison Award winner by the folks at Madison Magazine. Meet me at Buck and Honeys to celebrate Wisconsin hospitality. Whether you're enjoying the view on the Yahara River in Monona, exploring Wanakee, visiting the OG in Sun Prairie, or checking out the new location in Mount Horeb, you can enjoy the Buck and Honeys experience in a neighborhood near you. Serving lunch and dinner 7 days a week with brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you at Buck and Honeys.
The Damian Lillard era is over in Milwaukee.
Dame Lillard, by all accounts, is a good dude. He's a good teammate. He's obviously one of the top 75 players of all time, but it didn't work in Milwaukee.
Reaction continues next, right here on Madison's home of the Bucks.
The Bucks don't stop here. Milwaukee Bucks, green and growing, better each year.
I love this song and I love this guy. We are so much smarter because he joins our show, even though Tausch has a lot of NBA knowledge and I'm not poo-pooing it. But this guy's the best. From the Bucks Radio Network and Locked On Bucks, it is Justin Garcia on Wilde and Tausch. Justin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Still trying to process everything that we've seen go down in the last 90 minutes or so.
Were you wearing that shirt when this all started?
I was, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so JG?
All right, so the Myles Turner thing, I guess let's start there. If you were to go to Chat GPT and say, how do we replace Brook Lopez? This is the guy that it's going to show you because of his ability to stretch the floor. And I think that's one thing that cannot be lost here is you need a center that can shoot. to play alongside Giannis. And as good and as promising as Jericho Sims is, I think we've seen enough the last few years to know you can't have two non-shooters on the floor and have a successful offense in the NBA. And that was going to be the challenge with Jericho Sims, not to say to be on the team, but to have a really expanded role and to be a starter alongside Giannis. So you still needed someone. I think a lot of people were starting to talk yourselves into DeAndre Ayton in the last couple of days and say, hey, this is a pretty good option. It's a young guy that's hitting the market now. Why don't we go to him? And DeAndre Ayton's not a good shooter. He's younger. He's a decent defender. There's a lot of flaws that come with that game. So either way, you're trying to talk yourself into what do we do here? Is it just Bobby Portis that ends up being the starter for this team? To get Myles Turner, there was a few people that brought it up to me months ago and said, well, why don't you just target Myles Turner? There was no path for the Bucks to do that prior to the Dame piece, which is the interesting one. But they needed to clear up cap space. Myles Turner, this number, so I know it gets very confusing with the figures in the NBA, but the Bucks had mid-level exceptions to use. So that's $14.1 million. The Pacers can pay more to keep him because of bird rights. So you can pay more to keep your own guys if they've been on your team for at least 2 consecutive seasons. Otherwise, to sign a guy, you need one of those exceptions or you need cap space. The Bucks did not have cap space. They just have the exceptions. So the only route to get cap space was to waive and stretch Damian Lillard. And some people brought up to, what about Kyle Kuzma? Couldn't you do that with him? And the answer is no. Damian Lillard's contract is the only one that's big enough to pull this off. It basically frees up $30 million, $32-ish million, and takes you under the cap to say, okay, now we have money to spend. We can bring in Myles Turner. I don't think any of us envisioned doing this and waiving and stretching Dame, even knowing there's a good chance Dame is not going to play this season. Best case scenario, he's back in March, April, something like that. On the one hand, it's tough, and you feel incredibly bad for Damian Lillard to, go through what he did last year and deal with the blood clots, come back from that, then suffer that injury. It's 2 years that did not work out as either party expected or hoped, but it's still tough for it to come to an end like this and to have to waive and stretch him. But I think it also kind of shows you what the market was, and I think it kind of reinforces one way or another this team was going to look a lot different this next season here, that if Dame doesn't get injured, they're probably looking to trade him, to bring in other pieces and to break up that contract into 2 pieces and put guys alongside Giannis to get younger and stay competitive. None of us envisioned this. It was the only play the Bucks had to do that. And, Myles Turner was widely regarded as the best free agent on the market. And the Bucks not only get that, but they get almost an identical Brook Lopez replacement. He is 8 years younger. He is another guy that stretches the floor, hits threes. He shot 40% from 3 last year. He's terrific in the mid-range, and he's a really good rim protector. So when you say, how are we going to figure out how this works alongside Giannis with our big, you just got Brook Lopez 8 years younger, and now you can keep Bobby Portis in that role he was before, of the guy that's basically your scorer coming off the bench.
There's Keister, too.
What? Can you say that again? All right. Let's try to reconnect here because I'm having problems hearing you guys.
Take that away from Indiana. And then people are on Twitter are also mentioning how Evan that he struggled in that championship game, in the championship series.
Yeah.
He was not good.
He did.
But, yeah.
Well, we'll see what he does alongside.
Sounds like we got some connection issues. So
we'll see what he does alongside Giannis. We're going to reconnect with Justin Garcia, and he will rejoin us next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott Garrett and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
The sound of summer is on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
At the track, at the wall, jumped up. Jackson Chario brought it back.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
And watching it sail, it's a grand slam.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by Starion Bank and Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
Zimbrick Honda has been a proud part of the Madison community since 1973, and they're your one-stop shop for over 250 new Hondas to choose from. Whether it's the sedan, SUV, or truck, their selection of new vehicles is second to none and has exactly what you're looking for. Stop in today at their location on Fish Hatchery Road and check out the all-new 2024 Honda Prologue, Honda's first all-electric SUV, or browse their selection online at ZimbrickHonda.com. That's ZimbrickHonda.com. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Bandana? Check. Boots? Check. Gloves? Check. As a motorcycle rider in Wisconsin, you may go to great lengths to protect your image. Just be sure you're protecting yourself, too. Wear a Department of Transportation-approved helmet. Perform safety checks on your motorcycle. Know the traffic laws and don't take risks. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve zero preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. Zero in Wisconsin. Together, we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov. Wisconsin DOT.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hey, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network, and I've got a question for you. Is your home ready to shine this season? Whether it's roofing, siding, or windows, Ridgetop Exteriors is the name you can trust. For over 20 years, Ridgetop Exteriors has been Wisconsin's favorite for roofing, and they bring that same expertise to siding and windows. Imagine vibrant, low-maintenance siding and energy-efficient windows that brighten your home while cutting energy costs. Ridgetop Exteriors holds all expert-level installation credentials with the leading manufacturers, including Pella, James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding, and LP Smart Side Engineered Wood Siding. With thousands of 5-star reviews and a commitment to excellence, they're the clear choice for home improvement needs. Plus, consultations and estimates are always free, so there's no reason to wait. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com to schedule your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, putting customers first every time.
Ridgetop Exteriors is the place for you.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
The Bucks don't stop here. Milwaukee Bucks, green and growing, better each year. Green and growing, the Bucks don't stop here.
All right, we've reconnected with our Bucks buddy Justin Garcia, and if this doesn't work, we're just calling you on the phone. I'm going old school. Justin, you got us?
I do. You got me?
We do. We don't. It's the best you've ever looked black screen.
Sorry.
So I want to get back to where we were when we lost you, and that was this. Look, nobody knows all this stuff like you do. Like, my eyes glaze over when we start talking second apron and mid-level, all this stuff. It's convoluted to me. I'm not a huge fan of it. I've dug into the nitty-gritty of it. You get it. At what point did you even allow your brain to go to something that I'd never heard of until Tausch read the definition, the stretch of his contract? Yeah. Did you? At what level did you think this could happen? 0%, 1%? Where were you at?
With Damian Lillard, 0%. There was a lot of conversation around that with Pat Connaughton, because that would, and the Bucks, coming into the offseason, I mentioned they had things like the non-tax pyramid level. So that's $14 million you can give to a free agent. You can use a biannual exception, which it appears that's what they use to retain Kevin Porter Jr., which is $5-point-something million that you can use, just as it sounds, every other year. But other than that, minimums to keep your own guys, because they didn't have bird rights on Gary Trent and Kevin Porter, for that matter. So I think a lot of people thought there's a possibility smaller contracts, like an expiring Pat Connaughton deal. You waive that, you stretch it over 3 years, where you save $6 million this year, and it gets you under the tax. But for Dame, I never envisioned that. It is the largest contract in the history of the league to be stretched. And that's the fascinating part, is it's a pretty solid deal for Myles Turner to get him at, basically, I haven't seen what the annuals are going to be, but right around what you paid Brook Lopez last season, last 2 years. And he's 8 years younger, as we said, and he's an ideal fit alongside Giannis. But the way you have to view it is now, for the next 5 years, you got $22.5 million in dead cap space. And that is not common. That is not anything you want to get in the habit of doing. So it's one thing to have, hey, we got the next 2 years, that $3 million we got to pay out. $22 million is more than the mid-level exception. So, think of it as that's the type of player you're not going to have, that you're just giving away that money for those 5 years. So you almost have to view the Myles Turner deal as, for the next 3 years, it's the $22.5 million plus his contract. So you're basically paying him $10 million less annually than you would Damian Lillard for these next 3 years. Then he has a player option, and you still got 2 more years of that. So, look, it was the only way this was possible to get this replacement, and you're getting younger, and you're getting a piece that fits alongside Giannis. It's just, that's the challenging part of it. Number one, for Damian Lillard, as we said before, to battle through everything he did, and now the connotation, too, to be, look, when you're waived and stretched, that typically signals we don't think you got it anymore, and you're not worth paying. So that's something to stick to Damian Lillard. But to be rehabbing from coming back from the blood clots and a torn Achilles, and now this is how you go out. It's very unfortunate. But again, there was no other path for the Bucks to do this. And it is interesting that you see the Pacers are I would assume, approaching this now as a gap year, similar to the Boston Celtics, in that there was a lot of talk. They were willing to pay $30 million to keep Myles Turner and go into the tax, and then Tyrese Halliburton tears his Achilles, and he leaves. I do wonder if guys like Obi Toppin and even T.J. McConnell, because of their contract situations, are guys the Pacers say, let's start to shed some of this money and reload for 2 years from now, just as the Celtics are doing. But the big part of that is it keeps the door open, where even with this move and the potential, the big other piece is we don't know. I still got to see how things are structured to not get too far in the weeds, but there's potential. The Bucks still have a pretty sizable chunk of that mid-level exception to use on a free agent in addition to this, because this was a cap space move. But it at least puts you in the conversation where I don't think anybody's going to say the Bucks are the favorites coming into this season. It's going to be Cleveland and probably New York, who had a great day today as well. But you're at least in that conversation now with teams like the Magic, with teams like those two teams we mentioned, to say, okay, maybe there's one really, really good team in the East in the Cavs, and then we might have four really solid teams, and the Bucks are in that mix.
So, JG, how much of this was Giannis driven, do you believe?
Well, in the sense that you have to remain competitive. And look, this is kind of by the playbook of what we've seen from John Horst. We kind of talked about it, I think the last time I was on here, that every time the Bucks are in one of these spots, John Horst just kind of pulls a rabbit out of his hat where you think, how did he pull that off? You think about the Drew trade and Giannis sticking around, winning a championship. Damian Lillard, Giannis signs an extension then. And now you pull this off. I think that was the sense. I mean, I obviously don't have that relationship with Giannis. I don't think any of us do, but I don't think he was blindsided by this. I know there's been conflicting reports on that already. I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, that you're not just going to make this move and say, oh, by the way, Giannis, we did this. So what do you think? I mean, it's not like Giannis is signing off on it, but I think he is at least kept abreast of this and what it means for, look, here's how we can remain competitive this season. We were going to have a lot more money next offseason. Not necessarily the case now. They're still in a pretty decent financial spot, but you have a great opportunity, assuming things go well, and in what we saw from Giannis down the stretch, that's how you play going forward. You got a really strong chance to retain Gary Trent Jr. long-term because of what he took yesterday. Same for Kevin Porter Jr. If that works out, you have a great chance to retain him, to decline the option and pay him more. AJ Green's going to get extended. So you've seemingly overnight kind of reshaped this team while still having most of your group from last year, but you've gotten younger and more flexible.
Well, the reshaping continues while you're on the air.
Just saw it.
Just got a notification from Shams. I'll be honest with you. I have now put his...
This is some breaking news.
I've now put his tweets on my alerts, too, so now I get those delivered as soon as they're posted, and I'm not an NBA guy. The Milwaukee Bucks, per Shams, are trading Pat Connaughton and 2 of their own second-round picks in 2031 and 2032 to the Charlotte Hornets for correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, Vasily Micic. How did I do?
Micic, yeah. Close. Micic is correct. And there's this pretty strong assumption. Let me double-check his contract, but there was at one point a strong assumption that Vasa Micic was just going to return overseas and play there. So in a sense, this is just clearing up a roster spot for the Bucks. He's on an expiring deal. So this is clearing up a roster spot for the Bucks, basically, to, you still have 2 names that I think they'd love to retain in Ryan Rollins, who they extended the qualifying offer to, Jericho Sims, we talked about before as well. Because as it stands, the Bucks roster is at 12 guys. So if you keep those 2, you're at 14, and then you just got that one other roster spot open if you choose to. But they're going to do something else, because at most they've only used part of the mid-level exception. They may not have used any of it, but I think that kind of depends on what happens for the rest of the offseason, and then you can kind of go back and say, well, actually, this deal that we signed, we're going to use the mid-level for it instead of the biannual and take off this part of it. You can still use then part of the mid-level during the season to acquire a player in a trade, as long as you have that cap space. So if you keep the powder dry in that sense, it just leaves more options open during the season for the Bucks too.
Per Shams Charania, just now, free agent center Jericho Sims has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, including a player option for the second season. If we continued for another hour of show, how much more Bucks news would occur during the program?
This is an all-timer.
I mean, the Ryan Rollins one is interesting because it's a qualifying offer, so he is a restricted free agent. We'll see if he just gets an offer from someone else. If somebody says, which I think, to be clear, was an option before any of this happened, and the cap space created by the Bucks for another team to kind of sniff around and say, well, look, they're going to be hard capped, assuming they were going to use the mid-level. They'll be hard capped at the first apron, which they're already pretty close to, or they were before the Dame move. And we think they don't want to get into the tax. So if we can figure out where they're at cap-wise and just go slightly above that, the Bucks can't match that deal. Well, now that's very likely not an option for other teams. So I do expect, given you tendered him the qualifying offer, Ryan Rollins is going to be back, especially now that you don't have Dame. You kind of need another guy to handle the ball and be a backup point guard. So I would imagine we'll see something on that relatively soon as well.
All right. We know you got a lot on your plate, Justin. So we appreciate you making time. Big picture, you and Tausch both now, because Tausch loves his 30,000-foot view, but you get to go first because you're the guest. After all this, which has occurred during the course of our show, how much better do you feel about this team and about getting to use the analogy that Wendy went with, doing all this mortgaging and remortgaging to buy the sports car to keep the girl interested in you, and the girl being Giannis? How much better do you feel at 11:48 a.m. on July 1st than you felt at, say, 8:48 a.m. before the show started? Justin, you first.
A percentage? How much better do I feel?
How much better do you feel about the Bucks and Giannis?
Significantly better, because even if you kept this group together, you still have a big question at center. And I think we did see this works, where you're at least a competitive team playing with Giannis basically as your point guard, the defense and shooters around him with those young guys, and how instrumental Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr. were. Gary Harris, too, who they added, is a very strong option off the bench and a scorer. So they've continued to add those pieces. They stayed younger, too. I mean, I think it's notable that you look at some other teams like the Clippers, for example, where our pal Brook Lopez went. They're kind of cornering the market on guys that are good, but they're older and slower. And I think the Bucks have seen for the last 2 years at least, that's not the way we can really play anymore. And we have this athletic freak that we just have to center everything around him and play that style. So I already felt better about leaning into playing that way, as tough as it is to move on from Brook Lopez. But to get Myles Turner to replace him, to get the number one free agent on the market, and again, a guy that's younger and gives you those same things for the most part, leaves you feeling really great. I mean, I would say this is a total home run, because we still don't know what else is going to happen in terms of that mid-level if it weren't for the fact of, man, that's a big matzo ball hanging out there with that $22.5 million over the next 5 years. Like, we still can't ignore that, but on the court, I do think they got significantly better.
I think you look at this now, and JG, you mentioned Indiana and the Boston Celtics, who were both ahead of the Bucks. That is no longer the case. The Celtics shed a bunch. Their star is out. There's still talk about what they're going to do. I think it's the Cleveland Cavaliers ahead, and then you could put New York if you want. I think, okay, cute. I think the Bucks are right there. I think it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then you have New York, Orlando, and Milwaukee in the next group. And I think it's those four as we sit here today. So to answer your question, Jason, how much better do I feel? Markedly better, because I think it was, can the Bucks scrap to find a way to not make a play-in? And now I think you look at it and say they should be one of the favorites in the East, just off of what we've seen the last 2 days.
Well, and the Knicks got Gerson Yabusele for not a significant deal, which is a great deal for them. He's going to help them out quite a bit. Well, it sounds like they're going to get Mike Brown, which is a good coach, and especially if James Borrego comes as his top assistant. But the Knicks got better in this offseason, and you can't sleep on the Magic, because Desmond Bane is a great fit for them. And the Magic can point back to last year and say, look, if we didn't have all these injuries, we're right there. So I think the Magic are in the top 2 in the Eastern Conference right now. And, oh, by the way, the Atlanta Hawks we didn't mention. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they also had some big injuries that they're dealing with. So there's a lot of competition, but the Bucks, it's at least no longer a wide gap between those teams and the Bucks.
Is Justin Garcia the best in the business? Of course.
John Horst, you son of a gun, you did it again.
JG, you put up with a lot from us. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks.
See you guys.
I'm sorry, but Desmond Bain just keeps on giving.
I bet he wishes his audio was broken again.
Once he dropped Bain, I knew that's where this was headed. So,
can you imagine?
Hey, you know what?
Can you imagine if the Bucks got Bain?
No, I can't. I am thankful. I don't care how good he is. Strictly for our own well-being, I'm glad he's not a part
Myles
of this.
Turner is your ally. I was Rookie of the Year.
Why do I keep saying, who is Evan Turner? What am I missing here?
Evan Turner played at Ohio State forever. He was
all right.
Yeah.
He was there longer than Jay Burson. All right, we need to wrap things up. Luke Musgrave is your 20th ranked Packers most important
spoiler
player.
alert.
Yeah,
We're going to get to
what
that
are you
at
doing?
some point. Stop
Missed that story.
God.
We'll wrap things up next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
The Damian Lillard era is over in Milwaukee.
Dame Lillard, by all accounts, is a good dude. He's a good teammate. He's obviously one of the top 75 players of all time, but it didn't work in Milwaukee.
Reaction continues next, right here on Madison's home of the Bucks.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Bratfest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at TravelWisconsin.com. Sponsored by Travel Wisconsin.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Bruner Realty, providing excellent real estate and property management services in the Madison area for over 30 years. Contact their team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to get housed today. Melvin Gordon, a prime ambassador to defend Wisconsin's RBU legacy. The Badger legend back in Madison for the Vibes Golf Tournament last weekend. Flash with more on why Running the Rock is a team effort during his appearance on ESPN Madison's Saturday Scramble.
And when people doubt you, that's when people dig in and find that hunger and find that nastiness. We got to get back. I seen a couple old linemen, and I was just like, hey, it starts with you guys. I was only as good as my offensive linemen, only as good as those guys blocking for me up front. You know, as long as I knew I had them, I knew.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Fans, here's the Quick Trip to the Ballpark ticket offer. Spend $200 at participating Quick Trip locations and get a free Terrace Reserve ticket to a 2025 Milwaukee Brewers home game. Check brewers.com/quicktrip for more details. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
It's racing season. That means Road America in Elkhart Lake is the place to be. ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust and IndyCar driver Graham Rahal chat about what makes Road America special for drivers and fans.
What makes Road America so unique and different than anywhere else that you go?
I think it's the length of the straightaways. You know, in an IndyCar, there's 3 places on that racetrack that, in essence, you hit maximum velocity. There's no other track that we go to year-round where that's the case. And I think that's what the drivers all love about it. From a fan's perspective, you love it because it's easy to get around. You can see a lot of different places. You can sit up on the hill, watching the last corner, eat a brat, get some sweet corn and see that side of it. But then, of course, you can also, go back about a Canada corner. So many different aspects, different areas to watch, to cheer on your favorite driver. I think that's what's so cool and unique about this place as well.
Be part of Race Day this summer at Road America. Visit roadamerica.com.
GRB Academy is baseball for the serious player. Over the past 15 years, GRB has been Wisconsin's top destination for player development and advancement, including over 468 college commitments and 27 MLB draft picks. Their facility in Windsor is the home of GRB Rays baseball and features over 52,000 square feet of elite baseball training. Tryouts for the 2026 summer season begin July 22nd. Find full training programs and register now at grbacademy.com.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Okay, so we're out of time. But the good news is we've got special programming anchored by Alex Strofe and Ben Brust across ESPN Wisconsin, following us, leading you into Scalzo and Brust, leading you into KBN. And
I can't wait. That's a good show.
It's great to have Scalzo back on the airwaves.
That show's on the rocks, though, isn't it? Scalzo and Brust?
Yeah, it's on the shelf now. It's KBN. It's my. I
misspoke.
on the
rocks.
That's
Thank
it
you,
for
Jesse.
us today. Woo! What a day. We will see if the Bucks have any more moves now that we're off the air for the day. Thanks for coming along for the very wild ride